gonna go live. All right, all right, all right, all right. Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up? Let me make sure YouTube is live. I just want to make sure YouTube is live. Uh, let's see if YouTube is live. All right. Let's see if YouTube is live. Hello.
Better?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Super loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
All right. All right. Back on. I just want to make sure YouTube is live. YouTube, what's going on? If you guys can hear us, let us know. Let me click on the link and see what's going on here on YouTube. Let's see. Where's the link? Oh, all right. All right. I'm seeing some comments coming in already. I'm seeing comments coming in.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. All right. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Tuning in from Ghana, Kumasi, tuning in from Sierra Leone. Okay. Tuning in from Lagos. All right. All right. This is amazing. This is amazing. Oh, my God. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. Let me give you some. Let me give you some DJ. Let me give you some of these DJ things and make it look like I'm a pro podcaster. Is that what they call it? Yeah. All right. So, hey, thank you everybody for joining in. This is gonna be a very interesting conversation. Let me open up my notes because I have so many questions to ask Steph, and I don't even think we're gonna have enough time to go through everything. But let's just say a word of prayer really quickly. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to converse and discuss and share wisdom and share knowledge that you've given unto us into the other people. We give you thanks for this opportunity. We thank you for what you've deposited in us, and we pray that as we discuss and have these conversations, we hope that these words, there will be information that will transform other people's lives that they can use to progress their ministry in whatever capacity they are serving in. We pray that these conversations will bring wisdom, knowledge, impartations in ways that can change their life, change their ministry, transforms their mind in the name of Jesus. Thank you for this
Amen.
opportunity. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
All right. So I
Amen.
just want to you know talk to other people on the chat as well, the whole essence of these conversations, which is going to be coming in every maybe once in a month at this point, because I don't want to overcommit. This is not necessarily like I'm not even using the word podcast anywhere because I don't want to commit to that level of demand and weekly. I don't know, I don't think I
Mm.
have that that strength in me at this moment. But someone asked me a question a few days ago, like, what is my plan to helping the next generation? And it got me thinking a lot.
Mm.
Give me 1 second. I want to plug in this laptop charger.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I was asked, what is my plan to help other people and give them information, since not necessarily like giving classes, giving lessons, and all of that. And it got me thinking about this. about starting something like this where we can, bring in some of my colleagues that I know they have so much that they can share. They have so much wisdom to share, and that is how all of this started. Just wanted to give a lot of wisdom to other people, knowledge in whatever way, even though you might not necessarily be around either myself or like any of the guests that I bring on in future. You can listen to this conversation and grab one or two things, and this will be coming up, every once in a month. uh and this is pretty much the debut episode. So thank you so much, Steph, for agreeing to open this up. I really, 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 really appreciate this. This means a lot. This means a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
So I just want to put
Thank you
out
so
that
much.
in case anybody's wondering why, we don't need another podcast. Nobody need another podcast. And this is not going to be
Okay.
podcast. This is just going to be conversations that among
Absolutely.
musicians that can help us with and our journey and things like that. So we have a whole lot of people tuning in from here. uh this is amazing. We have people from Ghana. I'm going to be putting it on the screen now and then as well, kind of putting those comments on the screen so that we'll see what's going on and the questions. All right, so let me get started with my note. Let's just get into it. All right, Steph, we all know you. A lot of people know you. The people who are on live right now, I can say they know you because they tuned in right on time. I don't know. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning in. I believe they all know you. But for the people who are going to see this video later on, tell us who you are.
All right. First of all, I want to confirm. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, if you
Awesome.
can hear
Awesome.
on YouTube, please can just comment if you can hear both of us very clearly.
All right.
I-
All right. So, my name is Steph. My full name is actually Stephen Adeni,
Yep.
right? But I'm popularly known as Steph,
I
right?
like I
And
like Steph. I'm a fan of Steph Curry. I follow Golden State Warrior. So
oh, you too.
yep, yep.
Interesting.
We
So,
won last night. So
hey, good stuff, good stuff.
yeah.
So, I'm primarily a music producer by profession, and I happen to also be a music director. I sing as well, and I play a couple of instruments. Generally, I'm a music person. Anything music, you find me there. And currently, I serve as the global music director at Celebration Church International, and that's at least other things that I do. All right, that's my primary assignment, and that's what I do majorly for now. And I'm from Nigeria, Lagos. I'm probably not as old as people think. I'm
What
a
do you
young
think?
guy.
What do you think people think? I guess let's start from there. What
So
do you think people think?
I mean, many people think I'm in my late 20s.
Okay. I would even think maybe you're in your early 30s.
Ah! Please. Oh my God. I don't know if to take that as a compliment.
No, 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 no. I mean, like, it is not coming from your physical appearance. It's coming from the level of knowledge and what you do, and what you know. You would think for someone to have this so much knowledge musically, this person must have been
Mm,
doing this for this amount of time, and it will mean this person is probably this much old. That's where that's coming
then
from.
again.
Yeah.
Then again, that's true. So that's who I am, and I'm a lover of Jesus. I love Jesus so much, and I'm married by the
Yes,
grace of God.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Newly, well, it's no longer new at this point. This is 2025. Got married
Exactly. It
sometimes around September 2024, if I got it right.
was June. I got married in June.
Oh my God, time goes by so fast.
I'm telling you, so
Jeez.
fast.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations again. Congratulations again. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you, sir.
Special shout out to Sister Toluwani.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's her name.
Shout out
Yes.
to Sister Toluwani for allowing my brother to join me on this because it's already 9 p.m. Bro Steph should be coming to bed very soon.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just I just want to put that out there. So you gotta honor the woman of God. Thank you so much for letting my brother join us on this. So I want to ask, okay,
Yes.
so how did your journey in music? How did it start? What was it like? Did you just pick up instrument? Did you just like, if you can kind of share that, please.
Well, honestly, that's a very interesting question because as far as I can remember, I've always loved music. I'm talking about even since when I was like two. For my second year birthday, my parents actually got me a cake that
Hmm.
had a piano. So I didn't realize this until later when I was looking at the
The
pictures, and
pictures,
and
yeah.
I've always been a lover of music, and so my first encounter with loving music was I remember when I was about five.
Yep.
I used to have a cousin. That's I used to have a cousin. I have a
You,
cousin.
you still have the cousin.
Exactly. Exactly. I have a cousin. His name is Toba. And interestingly, he stays in Canada. So um he we used to go to his house to visit back then, just to play around. And then they had this piano. I can't even remember the piano, but it's this old Yamaha that has um orange lights on the screen. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
very
Okay. All those
and it had this
PSR, is that those ones?
exactly
Okay.
PSR. It had
Yeah.
this La Vida Loca song on it. And that they played in this movie Garfield. And so I used to always like I used to always anticipate going to his house to play that just to play that song. And so I used to always love the piano. I would just be playing the songs on the piano over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so from there, I started, I just loved the piano. I didn't really know anything. I just loved to do it. And then um, from there, I just started to really develop interest in playing the piano. And then my cousin, that same cousin went to the same school.
Okay.
And so he was already playing in school. He was just like everyone just loved the way he used to play. And he used
Hmm.
to also play the drums. And so many times in church, I would just want to be that kind of guy that can play, either the drums or the piano because musicians then used to get a lot of hype. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
could play, the church would just be all over you, and all of that. So I used to want that. And then, but I didn't know how to play. So one time I traveled with my dad to the village, and then um, he took a piano
Yeah.
there. And so the piano, there, so it was just me and the piano.
Hmm.
And so I remember I was just playing I was playing C sharp, D, C, no, it was G,
Yeah.
A.
Okay.
Am I still here?
Yeah,
Is this
we
clear?
can hear you now. We can hear you now. It froze for a second.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I used to play G, A major, and then D minor. And so
Okay.
I was just playing those chords, nothing, I didn't know what I was playing, but I just
Mm-hmm.
liked the sound,
But it sounded
and
good.
so it sounded good exactly. So when I
Yeah.
got back to this, I was playing it for my cousin, and he was like, how is your fingering perfect? Like, how can you move from chord, to chord easily? And then they were like, they have to look into this. So they just investigated and they started teaching me a few things. So the first thing I learned was the national anthem
Okay.
on the piano. And I didn't learn it, I learned the chords, like I played the chords on national anthem. So they
Not
were
just
like,
like the
how
melody, one note melody.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So they were like, how is it that you don't know anything about the piano, but you are
You,
learning this fast?
yeah.
So they started teaching me our school anthem, other songs,
And so
and
at
I
this
was
point,
then
you were like, how old at this point?
I think I was about at this point I think 8 or 9 thereabout.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
And so I started playing. national anthem and some songs, songs like I just want to say Baba,
Yeah,
o,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then they used to call me fast learner. And so, just playing the keyboard was good. So when I got into secondary school, I now started my music was my best subject. Music was
Okay.
my best. So I started learning about chords, about keys, time signature, key signature. And then I was like the best student in the class in music. I used to even
Wow.
help my music
Music
teacher then.
teacher.
I help her teach. So then I just realized that music is something that I really want to pursue. I loved everything about music, even learning about the history, you know.
Yep.
I loved everything about music. So then in school I started learning violin, trumpet, the baritone horn,
Oh
and
my
other
God.
instruments,
Yeah,
recorders,
recorder was one of those instruments that almost everybody played, whether you like music or
Exactly.
not. They forced everybody to buy it, and I hated the
I'm
noise that a lot of people used to make with it. People who don't know how to play, they just make so much noise with that recorder.
exactly
So, like with all
exactly.
these instruments, you're listening this way. Like, how many instruments do you actually play at this point?
Well, now, so the truth is, I all those instruments I actually left them for a while. So
Okay.
I don't even know if I still play well. But I
Okay.
mean, the good thing is I have an idea of at least every instrument I've encountered. I have an
Okay.
idea.
Okay.
I don't know any instrument that I don't have. And the good thing about it is that I know how to interpret those instruments. I may not know how to play skillfully on them,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
But you
I
know
know
what you
about them.
want. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That is there's no way you can effectively, like, I guess, produce or direct music with a lot of instrumentalists playing different things. If you don't,
Exactly.
the pretty much the art of directing or producing, it's not necessarily being able to play all instruments, but being able to communicate what you want each musician to play from each instrument. So
We're going in already. We're going in already.
yeah, we are going in already. Yeah,
I love
let me bring up my question. So, did you now, after leaving secondary school, did you actually like study music in the uni, or it was not necessarily like you had to study music in the university?
So I wanted to, but my
Okay.
dad, would let me. And as long as he was the one paying the school fees,
Oh my
no.
god. Oh my god.
It was a real struggle. So
Oh
I did not
god.
chance to study music in school. I'll just be flat out rap. But thank God for the little knowledge I got in school, right? And in secondary school. And
Yeah.
then I was friends with a lot of music students in school. So sometimes I remember there's a friend I had, Femi. He used to share some of his handouts with
Mhm.
me. So I used to read wide, I used to watch YouTube videos and just study a lot on music. And I had people who, of course, helped me in my journey. So I just had different influences that helped me
Yeah.
with knowledge.
So you were studying what course in the uni at that point?
International law and diplomacy.
Oh my god.
I'm
So
telling
did you
you.
go to law school after, or
So I was supposed to, but I did. I
oh
did.
wow.
That was the way it.
Oh my
Trust me.
god. Oh my god. Okay, so now that will bring up some other questions in the future. Now that you mentioned something related to law, but let's just continue the
Okay.
conversation right now on, so like, how did you kind of like transition into music directing? So maybe like, no, let me put the question in multiple ways. How did you transition into music production and music directing from just, not necessarily studying that in school and finishing your degree in international law and diplomacy, and now going into music full time? Number one, how did you convince your parents that you're not going to be practicing? Number
Ooh.
two, how did you now transition into music production, music directing? Because that's a whole transition in its own, in my opinion, from just being a musician.
Mhm. Well, so this would actually expose a lot, right?
Okay.
And this is
Okay.
this was the fact I'm not as old as people think. So
Okay.
first, and this is the case of people who you just need to discover, and it looks like they don't really have um track record, but they actually have a very long journey
Hmm.
where they were not known.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for me, music directing music directing started from when I was way younger. From like,
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, music production
Okay.
started from when I was way younger. There's a phone called Sony Ericsson.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't, yes. So this small Sony Ericsson had this game whereby you can put different instruments. So the app had like so it had different instruments, and each of those instruments had like 16 different patterns. So
Okay.
you can pick different patterns and then just merge. So drum had a pattern, bass had one, brass had one, percussions had one. So in fact, was it my cousin or my sister? I think one of them had that phone. So I
Okay.
used to play that game
Oh,
every single
wow.
day. So I would just be putting different things together, different beats. In fact, there were some P Square songs I remixed on that phone. This is as far back as
Wow.
2009,
Okay.
like as far
Okay.
back. So I used to do that a lot. And so, you know, also allow me to acknowledge the fact that, God was just in the mix,
Mm,
because
mm.
then, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just doing that. So, you know, when I now got to, when I got access to better instruments, like a better keyboard,
Yeah.
multi-pad, right?
Oh,
Multi-pads on all these SRs.
yeah. I remember that. I remember PSR.
So exactly. So I used to have this multi-pad where you have one, two, three, and four.
Okay.
So on those, you can put. It was the same thing as that Sony Ericsson. You can
Okay.
put uh, any instrument on those four pads,
Okay.
and then you just record four bars.
Oh,
So you
okay.
have it's
Yeah.
like a sequencer, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then it plays.
exactly, and then you start
Yeah.
adding. So oh my God, I did crazy things
With
with
that.
multi-pad. For I remember songs like Eminem's I'm Not Afraid to
Yeah.
Take a
Yeah. Yeah.
Stand, Davido's Aye Aye.
Okay. Okay.
I did crazy things
Yeah.
with so because then I didn't have access to apps like Fruity Loops,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was all I knew how to do then. So I
Oh
was
my
always
God.
always doing that. I even have some covers on Facebook. I've deleted them from IG, please, because
I tried looking.
so
I was
just doing
scout.
the just
Yeah, go ahead.
when you were saying something.
I was trying to look for like old pictures on your page. You deleted a bunch of them. To find one
Um,
picture, I had to go to another person's page to find your picture.
wow.
The one that I use for this thumbnail, I had to go to this Music Africa page where you were a judge.
Oh,
I had to go there and
yeah.
steal your picture from their page because I was looking through your
Wow.
page. The only picture that exists right now is you and your wife.
Oh, yes.
So
I'm thinking
all the
of
other
them now.
pictures just went away. So I can
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
So I think that was so. Just imagine that's basically music production, and I was doing that in seed form, and then it was in my 200 level. My roommates introduced me to Fruity Loops.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so then I wasn't really interested in music production. It wasn't something I wanted to do professionally. So
Mm.
I was doing it as a hobby then in school. I
Yeah.
would do EDM, it's just different things, just for the love of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then um so I was still focused. I was more focused on my career international law diplomacy. In fact, I already had my career mapped out. I knew what I wanted
Mm,
to do after, and
mm,
so music was just like a side thing
yeah,
and all. And so how did I then transition into music production?
yeah.
I have a friend of mine, his name is Siji.
Okay.
He's in the UK, and I don't know, he was in Nigeria for a while, so he came to our school to do with a team. In fact, it's the choir of our church. Back
Yep.
then, they came to school to do administration, and so he came with them and he heard me play, and he just took interest in me, followed me, and then started saying that, oh, this guy has potential. So he literally took me under his arms and
Wow.
taught me a lot of things, showed me a lot. So he was the one who made me believe that I can actually do this. Like this, there's a lot going on here,
Mm.
and uh, so he used to just send me a couple of stuff to do, and one of the best years of my life was the lockdown year.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
how,
Yeah.
as at 2020,
Yeah.
I had not started doing music professionally.
Oh.
Think about
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So in 2020, I was still learning a lot about music production. I
Mm-hmm.
was still learning C, and I was learning all these things on Fruity Loops
Mm.
back then. So I used to do CCM songs. I used to remake a lot of songs
Yeah.
on Fruity Loops
Yeah.
and with the little VSTs that I had. And so, it just seemed like it was a thing that I could do. And then CG would give me some money in return. Like I'll just do like one or two tasks for him, and then you
Mm.
pay me. So I'm like,
Oh.
okay, looks good, looks good. You know, and then I remember the first song I ever produced and put out
Mm-hmm.
for our church back then was he co-produced on the song.
Oh, okay.
So just seeing the entire process that, oh, this is something I can actually do. I
Mm.
believe that I could take it more seriously. So I started taking it more seriously then. But my parents,
Ah.
like, and I was fresh out of school. I graduated in
Yeah.
2019.
Okay.
So, my parents were not really vibing with the fact that I was focused on music. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a struggle. They were asking, that question, what's next? What's
What's
next?
next? What's happening? What's happening? You know.
And so it was tough. But then some things I started doing was that when I get some money from the work I did for CG,
Yeah.
I would just give them some money and say, I did this job and I got this amount of money. So they are like,
Ah.
okay, something is here. But then my dad will still always tell me that you can do this as a hobby, but not, it can't be your
Full time.
primary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, God was involved and I
Mm.
knew that you know, this was kind of like what I was meant to do,
Mm.
So, um, I remember, in fact, the story is long, but just to
Yeah.
cut it
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
you know, just to cut it short, what actually pushed me into that was when I joined Celebration Church. So I joined Celebration Church in 2021, and so me branching out into music full time
Yeah.
was when I joined Celebration Church,
Oh wow.
in 2021. That's story for another day,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to kind of convinced my parents that this was what God wanted me to do. My dad was not, even like months after, he did not care until when I made my first million
Okay. Now
from
it's
a
like
project.
okay.
And I sent him a gift. In fact, his first message was Jesus. His first message was Jesus.
Oh
So
my
when I
god.
explained to him that this is the job I did, and I got this amount of money and I just said to bless you with it, sir.
Okay.
He was happy. And then the Nord gig came in.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
one, Nord sessions.
Yeah.
And
I
sent him
remember
another
that.
gig.
I still yeah. I still have questions about that, but yeah. Go on.
Yeah. So he started to believe in what I was doing
Mm.
and I started giving it and he kind of just allowed me to do it. He
Mm.
just allowed me to do it. So
Wow.
that's
Wow.
that's
Wow, that is amazing. It's very it's sometimes very difficult to be able to convince, our parents and things like that. But I think there, if you're in the same situation, you probably have picked up one or two things right there. Like
Yeah.
when you're blessed from that project, let them see the fruit and let them see like
Yep.
there is something here that can come out from
Yep.
here, and it will help them to also like believe more in what you were doing. So I wanted to
Mhm.
ask, like, so that nod stuff that you did, is it like I just question for my curiosity and a couple of other people, because I see some nod sessions that some people do, especially in like North America, in the US. I've seen a couple in Brazil, UK as well. Some of those
Yes.
guys are like, I don't even know the difference between that nod sessions, those ones, and the one that was done in Nigeria with yourself, Eastplay, D Plus, James, Aliko. Don't remember if there's any other person.
Scott.
Scourge as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's like the difference between you guys and those other people in here? Because I see that some of these other guys, it's like I don't even know if they are like signed, they get nod gears, all those kind of things.
Mhm.
Like, is it the same thing or it was just kind of different?
So it was different.
Okay.
Because so Nord has two different packages like that. So there's the ambassador
Okay.
and there's the artist. So
Okay.
Nord has a lot of artists. I think over 300 artists across the world. And so this was their first time doing. This was their first time working with artists in Nigeria or doing
Oh,
anything at all
at
in
all.
Africa. And
Deji Keys.
yes,
Someone said Deji Keys also. Yes. Thank
yes,
you.
also
Yes.
yeah. And so this was their first time doing anything like that in Africa. And they wanted to, of course, promote the new keyboard at the time. That was the stage four. So they just wanted to collaborate with some great minds in Africa
Mhm.
to push that particular keyboard. And so what better way to do that than Node sessions,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And also, so the Node sessions is also a way of showcasing the music culture in any part of the world.
Mm.
And so the Node session was a platform to do that. And so they just collaborated with us and signed us as Node artists, not
Oh, okay.
ambassadors. So as an artist, you just record, you just collaborate with Node, and they pay you to do sessions like that. They
Oh,
pay you
okay.
to do sessions.
Okay.
But
Okay.
for ambassadors, that's where you have, gear and all of that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now that makes more sense now because I was like, I see the sessions, but like in the studio with all of you guys, I don't necessarily see the gears that we are accustomed to seeing with all those other guys. Like Mike Bereal, for
Exactly.
example, he has Nod everywhere. It's like, where
Mhm.
when are they sending my guys gear now? What's going on? Really, like
Really,
I even asked D Plus because D Plus was with me earlier last year, sometimes in April last year, right? So I was even asking like deep nose, how far like we didn't get into that conversation a lot because we had some other things we were doing, but I was even asking him like, no, are they sending? I can't remember his response then, but I was kind of like asking if they are sending gears or anything like that. But good to know. So in that same topic, since you were in this case an artist, not necessarily an ambassador, you are not necessarily like, oh, you have to always play note or anything like that. Okay,
no, no.
okay, all right. So if you were to pick your favorite keyboard, let's just say the Montage, the Roland, the Chronos, the Nord, which other one is a flagship right now? Coswell has died a
Yeah,
while ago. I'm sorry.
def-
But yeah, if you were to pick a favorite, let's just say I can only live with one keyboard, either live or in the studio. Which one would it be?
well, it's simple. It'll be the Node.
Okay,
It'll be the
both
Node.
live and
And
studio. both live and studio?
That's a tough question, Sha,
I know.
because you
That's
said
why I asked
live
it.
as
I know.
but honestly, I will still stick with the note. I will stick with note.
Okay. Okay.
As I so okay, please go on, sir. Please go on, sir.
No, no, no. I'm listening to your answer. That's why. Yeah, I'm listening to your answer.
So so there is the reason is because there is one thing that I'm very selfish with
Okay.
when it comes to pianos. I'm a producer. I do all of that stuff, but primarily
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pianist.
Okay.
Primarily, I'm a pianist, and one thing I don't joke with when it comes to pianos is the keyboard. See,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
because of feel, touch, if it's not right, it's not right, all right, and so it matters to me, and so Nord for me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a lot of people may not agree, but
I get
I
it.
think
I
uh,
understand for
from the
sure.
stage three, from the stage three,
Yeah.
I think Nord had like the best keyboards, the
Mm.
best keyboards
Yeah.
yet. So I absolutely that's why.
I am in a dilemma right now. In my studio, I don't have any hardware keyboard. I don't have any
Why?
hardware keyboard. The reason is because I still don't know the one I want to buy. Because these things are so expensive. If you're gonna buy one, you better buy the one you
Yeah,
know it's gonna serve you
exactly,
on all purpose.
exactly,
And I feel like
exactly.
yes, I want the nod for the pianos and for the keyboard. That's my favorite keyboard
Hmm.
of all time. I've not necessarily played the
Yes,
M8X really well, but I heard the keyboard is nice as well. The new M8X montage.
absolutely not.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not true.
So, so I want to buy the note for the keyboard and the pianos, but then I feel like I'm gonna be missing a lot of sounds from the aux sections, especially in the studio for workstation purposes. So I'm still deciding. I'm waiting. I heard this Cog Chronos 3 is coming out at the ongoing, I guess the
Oh,
upcoming NAM. I'm gonna wait for it and see if it's actually
nah.
good. Find a way to go and try it out and see. I'm trying to look for one single workstation. Simple as that. If not, I might still
Uh,
go this year without buying another hardware keyboard and still keep using VST.
but can I ask?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
I I want to ask you. So, what do you prefer to use VSTs or the samples from the workstations?
At this point, those VSTs are so good, bro.
Exactly.
I have not necessarily felt like I'm missing a lot with not having the hardware keyboard.
Mm.
So thank God I have access to be at church. Shout out to our pastor. If I need to use the church keyboards at church, I can always go there. We have Roland, we have Montage, we have Node. So
Yeah.
it's like, do I really need to go and buy it when I have access to it? Um, nah. So I still, if I need to do anything very quickly, I just do use VST. If I have the time to retrack it on the main piano, on the
Yeah.
main keyboards, I check out the sound and see. And sometimes the one on the VST is actually just as good enough. So at the end of the day, the listeners don't care. So I
Exactly.
just I
But
just move.
VST
I
is
just keep it moving. Yeah, the listeners don't. They don't
alive.
care where the sounds are coming from. We are the one very
And
particular about this. You know.
exactly. Exactly.
So this question I wanted to ask because I found it very interesting. But how has music production helped you in your journey as a music director? What is like you? What do you think is I don't know how to put the question. Like, do you necessarily think there was a great addition to your music directing repertoire by being able to produce music and just having that knowledge as a music producer?
Well, I'll be honest by saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Music production and music directing is kind of like the same thing,
Mm,
but I would say music production is music directing, but
mm-hmm.
digitally, like
Mm-hmm.
doing it digitally and working with software. Because at the end of the day, um, um, what a music director can do foundationally,
Mm-hmm.
a music producer can do.
Can do.
Because what you're doing, you're like you're like at the administrative seat of sounds,
Mm,
putting together, you know,
yeah.
and um, that's what music directing is. So how did it really help me? Practically now, music music production helped me to, first of all, be able to think for the team,
Mm,
think for the team, because if I'm going to work with, for example, the musicians,
yeah.
right, I need to be able to think the way they think.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able. So in my production process, I'm not just thinking about me. For
Yeah.
example, if I'm put a song together, I'm thinking about what would the drummer play, what would the bassist play, would this person play, and
Exactly.
so I'm I'm thinking for them, right? I have to be able to put myself in in their shoes
Mm-hmm.
and see what they would anticipate for them, basically.
Mm,
And so before any rehearsal, even if it's a service that we're not using tracks
okay.
for, right? If we're just using a loop, putting the arrangements together on my JW, I already kind of have an idea of what I would want to ask them to do. Get what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm,
And other ways, of course, because you're asking for practical steps,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Practical ways. Mhm. So first of all, as a music producer, I'm able to enhance our music by creating tracks
Yes.
that we use. That's one important thing.
Guys, are you
And
hearing? No, I hope you guys are hearing because this is where pretty much the conversation is. Yes, sir. Go on.
yeah, and so I actually knew what we call stems now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually learned them to be I learned them as enhancement tracks. That's what I originally knew them to be,
Yeah.
enhancement tracks. And
Yeah.
so what it does is that you do great music, but can you do it all? You know?
Mm,
So
mm.
what an enhancement track does is that it makes the simplest band sound great.
Mm,
It
mm-hmm.
makes band sound. And so there are many things that we would love to do.
Yeah.
For example, I think it would look nice if I'm playing like 10 keyboards on stage, like a
Uh-huh.
Yanni kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, is it really everything I can do?
You don't even
And so
have, I don't even think, at the end of the day, especially if you're directing a lot on stage, you probably don't even have enough brain power to try and be
I'm telling
messing with 10 keyboards when you are at the same time
you,
giving cues to the singers, to the
I'm
band. You don't even have that brain power to like do all of that.
telling
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And so it just makes the work easier. It does, and that's I think many times because of our sentiments
Hmm.
as musicians, we always like to do a lot. We don't like to, you know, we don't like to embrace what helps us to work faster because we feel like what helps us to work faster makes
It's
us
cheating
less effective. Like
or make
exact
us
cheating.
lazy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not true. It's not true. Whatever makes your job as a music director easier, I mean, embrace it. And
Mm.
so for me as a music producer, creating enhancement tracks for our performances was one plus,
Hmm.
right? And second, as a music producer, it opened me up to more possibilities.
Okay.
So there are more things that we can. So if I'm thinking of a performance as a music director now, I'm not just thinking of what we can do on the instrument. I'm thinking of what technology can help us do. So for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
I always tell people that when you create a track, the track is like an animation. and then what we call sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's like turning it from an animation to a real life movie.
Mm-hmm.
So sound effects help you breathe life.
Mm.
So for example, um, not so producers will understand this better, but
Okay.
if you have a riser,
Yeah.
for example, at the point, so it helps create anticipation. So
Gives that
not exactly,
build. Like something is
exactly,
coming. Something big is coming.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And we don't realize that all these things are engraved into some of the simplest things. Even in
Mm-hmm.
your cars,
Mm-hmm.
you have sound effects. On your phone, you have sound effects. When you are
Absolutely.
tapping your keyboard, that's a sound effect. When
Mm.
you're watching a movie, some things that help you feel the emotions of
Yeah.
the movie, it's a
Yeah.
sound effect.
Yeah.
And so, even in music, if you're truly concerned about communicating emotions, these things help as well. And so,
Absolutely.
you know, those things that I learned in music production,
Mm-hmm.
it it really helped me in curating experiences, that in performances that just help,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the performances. And of course, it'll open you up to new possibilities, things that you can do, in a which maybe we'll probably go into the details of it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so many possibilities that as a music producer you get to do in your performance as a music director. So yeah, basically. So,
Yeah, someone says riser in church worship, pastor no go talk. So it depends on there are different types of risers. Maybe you're thinking
mhm.
about EDM kind of riser where everything is doing side chained riser that is
Yeah.
giving you like all some ambulance kind of riser. The different kind of riser.
Yeah.
A riser can just be a simple white noise with an envelope that is just increasing the volume. It could be a simple
Mhm.
reverse cymbal crash, right? That just builds from low all the way to high. So riser
Yeah.
can be anything that is building from low volume to a high volume. It's technically
Mhm.
kind of like a riser as well. So there are different kind of risers that you can use. You're transitioning from verse to chorus. Right at the point of transition, you could drop a riser to build into that chorus and make that chorus feels bigger
Ex-
than it is. You could
ex-
put that in like, okay, you're coming from the bridge. The bridge has built all the way to the max, and
exactly.
then you're going to the chorus and you want to feel that impact. You could put a riser in there, like. So those are the kind of risers
Exactly.
it's talking about. It's not talking about the one in the club. Okay. So just to say that, and from what he just mentioned, I'm just gonna add a little bit on top of that as well. Like before I started
Mhm.
music production, I I could play keyboard well. It's a matter of fact, I play keyboard better back then than now because there is no time again.
Yeah.
And as at that time, I play keyboard so well, but I don't even know the difference between mono and stereo.
Ooh.
No, I'm telling you that. I play keyboard so well. Just give me keyboard, give me sustain pedal will fire. I don't even know the difference between left and right. I just want to make
Hmm.
sure my sound is coming out. I don't understand
Hmm.
the difference between how my sounds comes out when it's stereo as a piano player versus how my sounds comes out when it's mono, because that's a very
Hmm.
big difference in how what you're playing is going to be perceived. I did not know that until I
Mhm.
started production. And I tell you,
Wow.
and I hope I'm not just the only one, but you know what? I don't care to admit that. That was my journey. I did not know that until I started production. And
Yes,
now that
sir.
I knew that, that was just an example. Because now I can understand how to enhance my sound just by having that information as from
Exactly.
coming from production perspective, right? All of those kind
Mhm.
of little things like, okay, my sound is too bright, my piano is too harsh, cut out
Yeah.
3K here, my low end is too boomy, I'm too, a lot of people say don't play in the lower octave region. Well, How did you EQ your piano? You can still play in the lower octave region if you EQ the piano well. Not necessarily like
Exactly.
live down there and you're playing pretty much 247 down there. But it's not a rule that you can play down there in the lower octave. But if you play nice things down there and you EQ your piano properly, even from your board before it gets to the main FOH desk or anything like that. That is also something I did not know how to do. I don't know what an EQ does. I don't know what is the lows, what's mid, what is cutoff, what is low pass
Yeah,
filter. All those
exactly.
little things started coming while I was doing music production. And now at this point, it's even helping me as a piano player to sound totally different. Like I
Exactly.
sound completely different from another person who possibly play piano better than me, but their sound doesn't sound better than mine because they
Exactly.
didn't have that knowledge on how to make their sound good. Go ahead.
In fact, sir, let me say this out there. Let me
Yes,
put
sir.
this out here. I think in these times that we are now, every musician,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, even singers,
Mm.
anyone who loves music should find a way, no matter how little it is.
Yep.
You must have like some experience with music production. Every
Mm.
musician,
Mm.
every singer, you must have some because music production is like that. It's that table with different meals on it. Like it opens you up to more. There's a lot to learn about it, but even the basic knowledge, everyone needs it because it makes it easier. Like
Mm.
like uh, I'm hitting on from what the point you made
Yeah.
that as a music director, now, my focus is not just with the singing and the playing, is
Mm.
with even the song,
Exactly.
and so there are different sounds. Oh my God. Thank you for what you said because
Mm.
as a music producer, I know the difference between a rock song
Mm-hmm.
and a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are many songs that I have the privilege to ask people, okay, what genre of music is this? Many Nigerians, for
Yep.
example,
Yep.
many Nigerians, because that's where I am. Many Nigerians actually believe that some songs that are actually pop, they
Mm-hmm.
call it rock.
Mm.
You know?
Mm.
And so, if, for example, with BGVs now,
Yeah.
there is a way BGVs should sound on a pop song, and it's
Versus
different BGVs should sound
on
on
another
a
song.
rock song. On a pop,
Yeah.
they should be light, they should cut through, they should
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, sweeter harmonies.
Yeah.
They should, more attack in their singing and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But on a rock song, you may just need you may have fuller harmonies, sometimes just even unison.
Mm.
I just go on
Mm.
songs.
Mm.
But many times your interpretation of that song shows that you know little you only know little about the
About that
genre.
genre.
And
Yeah.
so exactly. And so music production, see as a music producer, I've had to dabble into different kinds of genres. Like
Yeah.
some that we don't even actively listen to. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
some and I'm like, this kind of music is possible.
Mm.
So, as a music producer, because I have the opportunity to listen to other genres of music, even in my directing, I can mix genres. They're fusions.
Exactly.
There is
Exactly.
it opens up to an endless possibility. And so
Possibilities. Yeah.
when how everything ought to sound, you know how to put things in the mix. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it makes the job of the music director easy when the people in the team are also following on that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they are
And so
growing in that journey,
I
and you don't have to always give those kind of like, you know,
exactly,
conversation.
exactly.
There was something that happened in the choir rehearsal about a week ago or so. We started a song. I can't remember the key that we were singing the song on, but the key was we were trying to sing unison. Okay, we're trying to sing unison, but the key was kind of very low for sopranos to also sing the unison and the same octave where tenors and altos were. So I asked soprano, just stay up on the octave. Give us the octave, unison, altos, tenor, give us the lower octave melody for the
Ooh.
unison. Now, everybody was singing the unison. We were supposed to go from that unison to three-part harmony. Okay. But now soprano is already high up. When they now went to, I wanted to test their knowledge or the what they were just going to do randomly. So after the unison ended, called them in to go to three-part. This is what happened. They went to three-part, but soprano now came down so that tenors took melody. I don't know if my camera is on. My camera just went off.
Yes.
Okay, my camera just went off.
Oh, I see.
Give me a second. But I'm just gonna finish this. Sopranos,
Okay.
they were already on the octave, which is the uh they were already on the what's it called? They were already on the octave. They went to three-part harmony and they came down because they were thinking tenors or alto would take the
Uh,
melody. They came down. And what happened immediately was the energy dropped because you were already at the octave. You already
hi,
given us that melody on the octave. And then you went to three-part harmony and that octave disappeared. That octave can no longer disappear. Someone has to still
exactly.
keep giving us that octave. So
Great.
soprano, you have to stay up there, and altos, tenors have to kind of now rise up to match you in a way. Now, those are like things I did not know before when like arranging harmony or like putting harmonies together. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just think, okay, we're singing unison and now let's go to three parts. And somebody else, it also matters how the song feels when you're coming from the unison and then you're going to the
Mhm.
three parts. So those are like things, you know,
I-
to kind of like think about when
Yeah,
directing is just almost like producing music on the spot. Now if you're in the studio
on
you
the
have time to rearrange, you have time to
mhm.
overthink, but when you're live you have to kind of stick to your instincts, think ahead of the music and
Yep.
think how it's going to sound, and then
Yep.
just quickly give instructions that will help in that area, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The other
Absolutely.
question I wanted to ask, I'm going to turn on my camera in a bit. The other question I wanted to ask here is, uh, what? Let me ask this one so that I don't miss it. How?
Okay.
I know you joined CCI. Did you mention 2019, right?
2021.
2021. Oh, 2021. So did you meet Pastor Hiren? I believe it's Hiren, not Iran. Please correct me.
Here.
Iran.
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
How did you meet Pastor Iran? Did you meet him before you joined, or you joined and then he had now relationship with him and all of that stuff?
Okay, so um how do I tell this story? So we I've been following him for a long time. I've been following him for a long time. I think since 2018. I was following him from then and but I really didn't know him personally. And so um I met him at a time where he was living in Abuja then. So he came to Lagos for a worship meeting. And then I think the pianist of the church at that time was not around. And so I was called to come and actually play for that service. So that was my first time meeting him. And I think he just knew me as his Steph and all that. So, but where we actually got to meet was in 2020. The same guy, CG, that's my friend. He that was actually when Apostle started working on his music.
Mm,
And so he was supposed to record a song at our annual reboot camp then
yep.
in 2020. So my friend CG wasn't in the country, so he just called me and told me that I'll have to play for that recording. So that
Mm,
was actually the first time I recorded prophetic chants. That's his song, prophetic chants.
okay.
So we did it twice. First time, the recording didn't really quite go well. So
Mm,
that was my first time. CG told me to play for that recording, and so that was my first time really meeting him and getting to know him. But I don't
mm.
join the church then.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. So I had a leading in 2020 to join the church. Um, I'd gotten an instruction from 2018
Mm,
that I was going to be a part of Celebration Church, and so I was just waiting for the right time.
mm,
And
mm.
of course, then in 2020, Apostle was like, you know, so it was a bit hard to like, how do you want to even meet him or tell him that you're joining this church? And also,
Yeah.
I have to summon courage. I just sent him a DM,
Mm,
and so I said, this is what the Lord is saying, sir. And he just told me, okay, um, make sure you show love to your team because I was in a local church there. So he
yeah.
just advised me, make sure you eat well, make sure they don't um, have to start from scratch because you're gone. And so I
Mm,
had to clean up there,
mm.
and then we scheduled a meeting to talk. So I told him everything the Lord had said, and then I was like, okay. So that's how I joined the church in 2021.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. So, what is, give us like, oh my God, I've not gone through half of my question. But jeez, my God.
I'm loving the conversation.
Okay. How do you, what is like the minimum requirement for a singer or for a musician to join CCW, Celebration Church Worship? What is like the minimum requirement for anybody who is looking to join in any capacity?
Okay, now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right now. Yeah. Right
Okay,
now.
okay, now. First of all, we because of where we are, we've gone through a lot of growth process to get
Mm-hmm.
to where we are now. And so anyone anyone that would love to join has to be able to work with us. So major things, a singer must have at least basic
Okay.
knowledge of music,
Okay.
and harmonies. Harmonies. It doesn't have to be crazy knowledge, but basic knowledge of music, harmonies, singing on key, just
For
basic
sure.
knowledge of it, and a singer that is also versatile,
Mm.
and then singers who are willing to or understand the art of
Okay.
performance. That's also something that we are trying to work on currently.
Okay.
And so that's for singers. But for musicians,
Yep. I guess
I think that
before we go to the musician side, just one more question that I want to bring up on the singer side. Is it a requirement for them to be able to score a song and know your part very well before you come for the rehearsal?
absolutely, in fact,
Okay.
um, before we even get to scoring songs, like I said, basic understanding of harmonies.
Hmm.
Because I believe if even if you're going to listen to a song to identify your
Your
harmony, you
part.
must
Yeah.
know what harmony is. You must have that. You must have that knowledge because I think I've seen a lot of struggle
Hmm.
with that from many people where and it's interesting that
It is.
many singers excuse. Okay, please go on. Sir.
And the reason why I'm asking specifically that question is because I've seen a lot of people who can sing well. They can identify. They have an understanding of the harmony, but when they listen to a song, it is hard for them to figure out which one is the soprano, which one is alto, which one is tenor, or figure out the correct note, even when they eventually identified what the tenor is, or what the alto is, or
Ah,
what the soprano is. I've seen a lot of people where it's kind of challenging to identify, or like they could identify
hmm.
the melody. Guess another way is they cannot identify the note that they are singing,
Uh,
which is
so
like
this
a lot of people just memorize and cram what they hear.
mm,
But now, let's say the song was done in C sharp, and in the original song, just for example, tenor was the melody. Now,
yeah.
and the song was done by Fred Hammond, a tenor singer. Now, Kiera Sheard wants to sing that song in A flat. And now we have to move those harmony around. Because if we sing
Yes.
the same note that was sung in the record, it's probably too low or probably too high. So soprano that was
Yeah.
singing or tenor that was singing melody before in the original song, you're not gonna be
Mm-hmm.
tenor anymore. You're going to be you're going to be singing something else. And soprano is going to be singing melody now because Kira Sheard is the one singing the song in A flat. That is like how many notes apart. Now it becomes a struggle because what you did back then was cram what you heard on radio or on your CD. You cannot musically identify the note that you were singing.
Mm-hmm.
So now to sing this new one, it's a challenge because I have to give you more time to cram this new one. So that was why I
Yeah.
was asking that question specifically.
So let me tell you what I learned from Jacob Collier.
Okay.
It was a powerful secret. Like it helped me to be able to judge people better.
Hmm.
Um, something just came to my mind.
Yep.
Sometimes we listen, we don't judge.
Okay.
But I judge, especially singers. I judge. So it just helped me judge better. So Jacob Collier said something. He said, and this is how he's able to do that
Those
choir thing he
crazy
does when he goes.
arrangement. Yeah.
Yes. So he said that every human being has an intuitive knowledge of harmonies. Like it's such that many times you don't have to give like an average person a harmony to sing.
Hmm.
Some way, somehow, when you tell someone to do, even if this person has no knowledge of music, if you tell the person do oh and you
Mm-hmm.
do like this to the next person, the person will naturally just do ah,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other person so naturally we just have that natural intuition for harmonies.
Hmm.
And so he said that what he does when he's live is just that he gives people permission
Hmm.
to do it. He doesn't have to tell them all the time that this is what it should, this is what it should.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just gives them permission, and then they sing the next harmony. And so that was really powerful. But I now realize that many times when we do auditions, we don't realize that what people do when we say, "Okay, I'll sing," you sing the harmony. That it's normal. Any many times any human
Can do that.
being can do that. And so, what gives a singer an advantage is the proper knowledge. And for you to have proper knowledge of harmonies, you must have a proper knowledge of scales and
Yep.
chords.
Yep.
You have to know that harmonies are not just triads. It's not always going to be do mi so.
For sure.
Sometimes it can be do re so.
Yep. Although
It can be
faso.
do fa so. It can be
Yep.
suspended. It can be exactly. It can be augmented. And so at the end of the day, people excuse that extra knowledge that gives them the
Mhm.
advantage because when you know it, it'll be easier for you to. For example, I was telling some people one day, I've forgotten what training it was, but they asked that how do you how do you score songs if you don't know the chords? I told the person, I said, broaden your vocabulary of
Hmm.
chords
Mm-hmm.
because you can't identify what you're not familiar with.
Absolutely.
So, so rather than
Absolutely.
scoring more songs, first of all, expand your vocabulary, learn more about chords,
Mm-hmm.
learn more types of chords so that when you're listening to songs, it's
And
easy
you
for
hear
you to
them.
recognize
Yeah.
exactly. Sometimes you may not get it exactly, but you know the type of chord.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with singers. If you don't understand why someone would put a paw
In a
when
particular
when
place.
exactly
Yeah.
you first of all you must be able to tell the approach and not just the notes.
Hmm.
Okay, what is he trying to do? What is he going for there? And
Where is it
many
growing? You
exactly.
know.
And I find that with my singers in Celebration Church in my branch Keja, I realize that sometimes there are some things that they do
But they don't know the
that
theory behind it.
exactly
Absolutely.
exactly and
Absolutely.
and so it's important that people don't just like, and singers, they have that thing. When you give them, like, for example, if I'm doing we give you all the glory. And
Okay.
then you tell tenor, instead of doing we give you all the glory.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I tell them to do we give you all
Mm-hmm.
the, so they'll just be like, ooh. I'm like, don't
Mm.
just be fascinated by that.
Mm.
Like, get what you get what I'm saying?
Ask questions.
Like, get the approach.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so singers just like the fabulous stuff. They don't like to go after that extra knowledge. So
The knowledge
if
behind it.
you have understanding of what a diminished chord is,
Mm-hmm.
when I put do, the
Flat.
minor third
Yeah.
and the exact, and
And
then
flat
the
five.
flat five,
Yeah.
you would say, okay, he
I
must be
know where
going
it's
for a
going.
diminished chord.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's
Mm-hmm.
easier that way. And many people also excuse ear training.
Mm-hmm.
Even musicians don't do ear training. And I don't, it's strange to me. Like,
Mm.
how do you want to be, how do you want to be able to identify things? How do you
Yeah.
want to be able to score a song?
Mm.
Because what scoring song is what all these AI apps are doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have to zoom in on one thing. Like,
You
you
I
need
I
to.
tell people tell me, so how do you listen to a song and you are able to identify all the notes of everybody in a dense mix with a lot of things going on? I said, honestly, the best way I can explain it to you is I just listen to the song and it's as if every other thing in the song doesn't exist. It's as if that thing I'm
Exactly.
trying to look for is the only thing I am hearing. Now, my ears
Exactly.
is still hearing the old music. This is what we used to do before AI starts doing stem splitter.
Exactly.
All right. So
Exactly.
you open your ears so much in one section that you are just hearing. At this point, I only want to hear auto. Now, and I'm just hearing
Mhm.
only the auto, and I'm just writing down what the note they are singing. And that's how you
Exactly.
do it. There is no other way. Even AI that is splitting it right now, it's still only splitting it to vocals, music, and whatnot. It's still not splitting it into alto, soprano, tenor. Probably we should work on that one now. I
I
mean,
want to see how.
because at this point it's necessary, and that was why I was asking that if this is a requirement for if you want to join, does your level of music has to go that deep, or it kind of just like if you have some
Yes,
understanding and you're willing to learn, we can kind of like coach you from there or something like that.
definitely. And we do it. We do it actively in our team.
Hmm.
We have, for example, in my team, my branch of the church, we have
Yeah.
and our music directors, even most all our branches are that sound. So
Hmm.
there are things that they also incorporate into their system. We have a choir director, Mr. Frank. He hammers on these things. And so anyone who joins our choir, for example, does a 1 month probation period
Okay.
whereby even if you know, we refresh the knowledge. And if you don't know, we train you on these things. And then
Okay.
from there you can take. But what people don't realize is you can actually learn how to do these things. And so if you come to our team without that knowledge, you will limit us.
Hmm.
There's something we can't do because, and so now that's how to ask and now. So in case
Hmm.
there's someone hearing,
Yep. Yep.
you have basic knowledge of
Yeah.
harmony, chord scale, basic knowledge. We don't even need you to be very vast on it, but
Mm. Mm.
foundational. Very important.
Yeah. Someone is asking, I don't know if you see my screen right now. Someone asks, what's the difference between scoring and transcribing a song?
Hmm.
I would
Well,
say, yeah, I would say, from what I understand, transcribing, when you use the word transcribing, you are literally putting something down in form of writing or in form of either you're writing it down or you're you putting it on your staff notation, like you're drawing it into your 5 line 4 spaces treble clef bass clef, or if you're just writing out the solfa notations, you could also do that. That is transcribing. When you are listening and learning the song itself and absorbing what you are learning before you start putting it down, that is the scoring part of thing. The putting it down is the transcribing part. So they kind of work hand in hand. But now I might score a song without necessarily like transcribing and writing it down. I might learn a song, learn what the piano player is doing or whatnot, and not necessarily like put it down in sheet music or in any
Yeah.
form of, chat. Oh, I hope that is my knowledge. I might be wrong, but that's what I know. If you want to add to that.
Absolutely right, sir. Yeah, absolutely right.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for answering the question. Now, the other one is how do you deal with, volunteers that are, or maybe I should start from this. I don't believe everybody is like a full time staff. Is that correct? Like, you know, okay. So, like, when you are volunteers, singers, volunteer musicians, how do you deal with difficulties like late coming, not being disciplined, not learning the song before coming, uh and just not pulling in their weight, which in some cases you'll be shocked that when they wanted to join the team they show a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of they want to do this, they want to, and now that they've joined, uh they are not just pulling in their weight. How do you kind of deal with that?
So first of all, one important thing is that if you have a team in your church, once you start to place that, or once you start to what's the word? Project that difference between a volunteer and the paid staff.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where the trouble.
Okay.
And so for me, I believe whether you're a paid staff or whether you're a volunteer, everyone is the same in the team.
Yeah.
Everyone is the same in the team.
Yeah.
Foundationally, everyone is the same. Everyone should bring in the same efforts. Thank God
Mm.
for um, my team. We have people who have a great heart, and that's one thing I look out for many times. Whether volunteer or staff,
Mm.
we don't just go for skill alone. We go for the heart.
Yeah.
Like you must believe in what we're doing and love it enough to give it your best,
Hmm.
right? And I'm not saying that we've not had encounters with people who
Yeah.
are a bit difficult,
Interesting.
but I will share a few. But as a leader, I try not to make people, I try not to project that you're a volunteer, you're a paid staff. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
with paid staff, we have our conversations privately.
Mm.
Privately. If I expect you to do better as a paid staff, I have that conversation. My expectation for paid staff is separately. Then if I want a volunteer to do his work
Yeah.
separately, and so I don't project it that people staff are paid, and so
Hmm.
um, I expect the same level of commitment from every single one who joins the team,
Mm.
right? Because there's a reason why you are in that team. We didn't let you into the team just so you could be a part of the team, but so you can contribute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to contribute. And many times I realize that when you do that, it's hard for people to tell who the volunteer is and who the paid staff is. It's
Absolutely.
hard because everyone is just pulling in their weight. So then again, what do you now do when you have people who volunteers, for example, who
Hmm.
don't pull their weight as much?
Yeah.
So the first is that even from the audition process, I think that many times we just audition for skill. There's
Mm.
in our audition process, there are new things that we introduced. We introduced questions like, "What job do you do?"
Absolutely.
You and when we ask questions like, "What job do you do?" Where do you stay? What's your background like?
Mm.
How much do you earn? Things like that. Just so that we can tell if you will be able to give.
In the
your
best.
best to the team.
Yeah,
Yes, because
because
some people don't even, okay,
you
please go
you
ahead,
you
sir.
you can be living in I know I've been in Lagos for a lot. I've not been in Lagos for a while. But if you're in the Ikeja branch and you want to join the Ikeja branch, but you're living in Ebute in Ikorodu, you know what I'm saying,
Um,
and your work is
that-
in one other place, eventually
that's
we
so
have issues with being available for rehearsals, being available for service and things like that. It's just going to happen at
definitely.
one point or the other, no matter how much you love this branch. But if your commute is not sorted, so I can understand questions like that. Or if you're like a surgeon that they always call you to be on duty 247 to come and operate, like yeah, we understand, but again, we at least, even if we know beforehand, it will also help us to understand how much we should expect from you versus another person. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And so some people don't even know that it's an issue. And so what we do at audition, like for example, there are some, and that's why recently I've said that I'll stop going for auditions because
Mm.
when you hear some, it's just like, what are you doing here? And so I said, just to avoid the frustration, I
Yeah.
stopped. I said, like, team members are happy because um, some people come for auditions and, they tell you, I just tell them straight up there. I tell them, can I
Okay.
advise you? You can't,
You
you
can
can't
join this team.
be. I tell them and I advise them. I
Yeah.
say, if you want, there are units in the church that will not require this level of
Mm.
commitment.
Mm.
And so, I mean, sometimes because of the way Lagos is, we have overnight rehearsals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to be okay with the fact that you can we can spontaneously call for overnight rehearsals and you have to show up, whether you're a volunteer or you're a paid staff,
Yeah. Yeah.
because at the end of the day, work of God. And so a lot of people want to, a lot of people want to steal what their gifts for God, and you
Mm.
can't say no to people who are genuinely gifted, and so we have to let people in, but you have to be ready to take on that sacrifice. I always make it abundantly clear to people that being a choir member, especially in a church where you are excellence driven,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like every week you're thinking of what you can do better,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so choir members, if you're in a team, you have to give your absolute best. And so, whilst we ask those questions, we also there's something else we do.
Okay.
It's it's under the system called talent inventory.
Mm.
And so, what we do is that from time to time
Yeah.
we re-audition members of the team.
I like that. I like that.
We re-audition, and it doesn't have to be as detailed as their first audition.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be a meeting with everyone.
Okay.
Like, okay, you joined the team at this time. Now, what are the things that have changed in your life? You joined the team when you were doing a remote job, but now you have to physically go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, what are the things that have changed? Do you think you can give your best? Are you even willing to? So sometimes what that has done for us is that there's some people that can easily transition from being volunteers to being staff.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
people can easily transition there. So they have more time on their hands. They have
And they have the
uh
skill set.
they have they have control of their time. And so what they need is just that extra support to help them give their best. Because
Mm.
see,
Mm.
there are some people
Mm.
with how gifted they are, they just need that security with finances.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
by putting them on the payroll system, you can help them. And what they will give
And you get
will be
more
times five years
what they
before,
were given before.
And so
Good.
that kind of purchase system helps us to be able to check people's motives, check their commitments, and help them suggest ways by which they can do better.
Awesome.
Then for the difficult folks, But it's
Yes.
different, folks. At the end of the day, see, as a leader, one thing I've learned is that we can't shy away from confrontation.
Mm,
You know, if your best, like your best skilled member, your most skilled member, doesn't have the time to
mm. To do the work.
commit, it can't work.
Mm,
You know, skill is important, but commitment is the most important. And
mm,
so, no matter how gifted you are, if you can't commit to the team, or even in some form of way, be accountable. For example, I tell people rather than saying, oh, rather than not coming for rehearsals from time to time, just say, I need 3 months away from the choir to sort
okay.
out my time. I
Okay.
will be back after 3 months. That
Mm,
way, that you've helped them manage their expectations.
yeah.
So they
Yeah.
know that, okay, after this period of time, we are expecting you back.
Mm,
I even do it for some. I tell some people, with the way your life is going, you need break. You need a break. Take 3 weeks. Take
mm,
4 weeks. Go off and then come back. But some people are not just honest enough or sincere enough to come out and say things like that. So I always suggest to people,
mm.
take breaks. Some periods of your life will be busier than other
Than the
periods.
other
So
period.
if
Yeah.
no matter who the person is, whether the staff or even staff, sometimes they need breaks.
Absolutely.
They need it. And so
Absolutely.
what
I mean, when
where
we
I
work
volunteer
when
with
we
staff,
work in the secular job as well, yeah, you're full time in your secular job, or you still get vacations, things like that.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so
So it.
with systems like that, it's easy for you to run a team with volunteers and staff. And there is that playing level ground where
Mm.
where everyone is.
I like
That
what you
that's what I think.
said about talent inventory and revaluation, the reevaluation of you know what you have, and one
Yes.
of the reason I'm mentioning this is I know people are watching online and they will relate to this. There are times where you start a ministry where anybody, as long as you can sing in your bathroom, you joined. And there are some people at this point, they've been in choir for 20 years. They've not necessarily grown. The church has moved from this level to this next level. These people are still there. The new people we are auditioning in to join the choir, the level of expectation that we are looking for is higher than some of the people who are already in choir. But because these ones have been here for 20 years, we don't want to drive them away.
That's
And
a real situation, right?
it's these are things that happen. And especially when you are running 100% volunteer system, it becomes very kind of hard because these people, they've been volunteering all their lives, their times for the past
Yeah.
20 years. And all of a sudden you want to tell them, because of what we want to do, the next level we are going to, we have to let you
I,
go. It's like,
I can relate.
it's challenging. It is challenging. It is
I'm telling
challenging,
you.
so these are things that if we have to be conversation sometimes, even probably you have to probably get the pastor involved.
I'm telling
you
I'm
know.
see because sometimes and I think many times we run a system that, especially with church,
Mhm.
that makes people become entitled.
Mm, mm,
So um just because, and the truth is that, even so, that's the burden of leadership. See, LJ, first of all, I tell people that being a music director
yeah.
is like 40% music, 60% management. It's
Mm,
people,
mm,
because I mean, just look at the situation you just mentioned.
yeah.
How do you want to handle that situation? Even if you have it handled for a period of time, something will still happen again. That
Exactly.
you get,
Exactly.
and so many times, what I believe is best to just keep the boat sailing
Mm,
is to find way to appreciate the labor of
Mm.
people and separate it from
Their
the
technical
growth process.
skills.
Exactly.
Mm.
So their labor is good, but this is where the see
Where the issue
this
is.
is the
Mm.
so what I institutions like that, I make sure that people like that, you can be in the team, but you can be in the team and you will never experience any disregard. We'll always
Mm.
honor you,
Mm.
respect you, in fact, buy gifts for you.
Mm.
When we're having worship leaders conference or like choir trainings and all, we'll
Yeah.
give you a chance to talk about service, you know,
Commitment.
commit, you know. But when it comes to the actual work, if
Yeah.
you're not meeting up, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. You will
Mm.
always have to be faced the reality of the growth of the team. So,
Yeah.
ah, hmm,
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Before we would go, I know we cannot attend to everybody's questions. A lot of people have questions. Even my questions that I have here, we already 1 hour 30 minutes in. But there is one last thing I'm gonna ask you for. Okay,
yeah.
give us if you can. I wrote it down, even though I'm overwhelmed that I cannot go through some of these other one. But give us a glimpse into your preparation as the GMD for the reboot camp conference, or is reboot camp. I don't think there's conference after camp. So, like, what does the preparation look like from day one until the final day of reboot conference? Like, you as the MD, what is the process that goes into it from your angle?
All right. So, um, I'll be very honest.
Yes, sir.
And this is the thing because um, first of all, I'm working on the on that pastor that is very, very, very like very keen on excellence. And so it's not just something that he loves, but it's something that he drives.
He is,
And
and that's who he is. Yeah.
we're always up on our toes. And so this is the idea. This is the hack. Because we do reboot camp every year, and we also have a lot of special programs in the year.
Hmm.
And the truth, many times we treat every Sunday like a special program.
Absolutely.
So it's gonna be a lot of work planning for special programs, planning for Sunday services, and planning for a boot camp at the same time.
Hmm.
And so this is what we Reboot Camp has a structure. Many times it's the conference is curated in a way that it's the same. It's like every single session has a theme every year, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
change, Apostle will definitely let us know. But we always know that the first night, for example, is an emphasis on the gospel. So
Okay.
many times we don't really have to always check back to say, what are you teaching on? What is it going to be on? So we already know how the conference will go. So the planning for a boot camp actually begins with the next year. So we start at the beginning of the year. And like I said, it's a hack that we got. So the hack is that I think people would have noticed, people who paid attention would have noticed in the past 2 years. You won't
Mm.
believe that at least 60% of the set lists we do at Reboot Camp,
Yeah.
we've already done it during the year.
I like that. I like that.
So, so because at the end of the day, we have a lot of programs to prepare for. And so, Reboot Camp is that one program where we do a global program. And so when we are doing set lists for Sundays, we make sure that every Sunday has to count so that we can pick any set list from any Sunday service
Mm.
and do at Reboot Camp, and it will still be Reboot Camp standard.
Okay.
And um for example, last year, the first day, the second night, and the third day, all the set lists that we did during the year. And
Mm.
so set list it's not easy. We actually start rehearsing for a boot camp globally around September, October.
Okay.
That's when we start rehearsing.
Okay.
And then set list we start this so we start picking the songs from different Sundays
Yeah.
in from between July and September. So
Okay.
that's when many times that's the period in which the theme for the reboot camp comes.
Okay.
So that's when we sit also we then discuss the theme and everything. And so once we have the theme, we then put our set list together. And then sometimes Apostle has to, many times Apostle has to give an approval. And so once he approves the set list, um, we begin rehearsals in September. But
Okay.
it's not always perfect because
Mm-hmm.
2022, we actually started rehearsals in November.
Mm. Mm. Because there were a lot going
But
on.
so yes, and so but for the past 2 years, we've been able to maintain that September, October.
Okay.
And so when we have our stems done, because the stems have already been done before, all we have to do is just go over it, just check if we want to add new songs
Okay.
or if we want to switch things up a little bit, we
Mm-hmm.
just fix 2 things there. And many
Okay.
times, because we have a lot of producers in CCI,
Yep.
the work is
Yep.
easier. We have specific producers that work with us. I mean, just to mention a few, there's Chika in Abuja,
Mm-hmm.
there's Joe White in our Lagos Island branch, there's
Yep.
Yimika, there's Josh, who's in our Ikeja branch. In fact, there's some of them that are even in the UK, are just amazing people. And so the work is easier.
Absolutely.
I can say, okay, work on this, work on this, work on this. Sometimes because it's a global event, other campuses even work on set lists,
Absolutely. Love
right?
that.
And I didn't hear you say,
I said I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
yes. So we sometimes get help from them. So the preparation of the stems goes hand in hand with the rehearsal process. So, for
Okay.
example, I
So
always begin rehearsal. Okay.
so by as you're picking, because this is one of the challenge I've seen a lot of times. So between the August, September, as you're picking the set list, are you also, I guess, selecting who is going to be leading the song? Because most of the times that also drives what the key of the song is going to be in. And if we have to do stems, we can go back and change the stems if the lead singer shows up in November and says this key is too high for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you kind of
Yeah.
manage that?
So, um, so that's why I said at the end of the day, it's not perfect. Like
Yeah,
sometimes, that's the reality of it. So
yeah,
this struggle you just mentioned, I experienced it too. Such that
yeah.
even in November, I was still changing lead singers. But
Mm,
there are some set lists that once it's approved, I know who is singing that set list.
okay,
And
okay,
so yes, I know who. In fact, it's a thing, especially for a boot camp. When I'm picking the songs, already the voice for the song, I might just have an idea. I
okay.
might just already know.
Mm,
So, for example, we did Holy Forever at last year's boot camp. I think I sent the song to the lady that led it in July. I can't remember the month. I think it was in July. I sent it to her and I said, start soaking this song, the boot camp. See you at the boot camp
mm,
2024. So I sent it to her. The one for all the way, that's the set list we did on the first day. I already knew, so I sent it to them a long time ago. But there are some set lists that just takes a little more time.
mm,
And those set lists, they are not the ones that are too because we don't use stems for all the set lists.
okay.
So there are some we play them live. And so those ones I can take my time,
With those
you
ones,
know,
yeah.
and, yes, and ask them, okay, and speak who should lead. But many of the time, um, when I pick a set list, I kind of know the singer's range.
Mm, okay.
I kind I kind of have an idea of the singers range. So,
Mm-hmm.
like now, the first day of last year, we had a guy and a lady sing the first song. Two of them have a very high range, so it
Range.
was
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what I did, I put the guy on the first few songs
Mm-hmm.
because he still has some depth,
Mm-hmm.
So I put him on the first few songs. So when the song
Climax to it.
climaxes,
Yeah.
they can now. Oh,
Take
sorry,
you from
it
there.
was the lady. The lady actually has depth.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that's
Okay.
energy. So
Okay.
I put her on the first,
Yeah.
and then the guy is more. His voice is tinier. That's Yemika. His voice is tinier. So when the song climaxes, he takes it up from there. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
just easy, and then both of them. So many
Okay.
times I kind of have an idea of the singer's range,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Okay.
thank God for singers who have highs and have lows, who can just work around any key.
Mm.
So that's how I work around that. So by October, March, we started rehearsals, and I always start rehearsals with singers.
Okay.
Always, always, because it's when we're doing rehearsals with singers that I'm able to decide specifically to say, okay,
Mm.
this would be the arrangement, this would be the flow.
The flow.
So
Yeah.
once I'm done with the rehearsal, I just record the singers, send to the producer, say, okay, change this arrangement, say, work with these vocals, and
Okay.
change this and change that. So I
Okay.
always start running the singers. Musicians, many times because they've played it before, it's
They know
easy to
it
work with them. So I work with musicians much
much more
later.
later. Yeah.
So we finish, in fact, we rehearse all the way from October down to the week of reboot camp,
Mm.
the Monday night. Reboot camp starts on Thursday, so we rehearse down to Monday night. And then musicians rehearsal starts somewhere around early November. So I would say we do, like now, last year was about 12 rehearsals for singers,
Okay.
12 rehearsals for, and then we did about, I think, six rehearsals, six or five rehearsals for
Musicians.
musicians.
Okay.
The good thing is that because we have a lot of people, it's easy to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
So many times, so for example, PD Wilson is in our church. We also have Mr. Frank. We have amazing vocal directors. So
Yep.
I don't have to handle all the
A
rehearsals.
lot of people. A lot of
So
again. Let's clarify that a lot of people who can actually do the work, not just people,
yeah, oh,
because
definitely,
two different
definitely,
things. Two
definitely.
different things. Yeah.
And then these are people that they do it better than I do.
Mm.
They do it better than I do.
Mm.
So um um some sessions I handed over to them. I just said, you handle this one, handle this one, handle this one. So I don't have to attend all the rehearsals.
Yeah.
So I can just be there for oversight to just be
Mm-hmm.
sure things are working. But I didn't have to. So it was easy to delegate work to them to handle some rehearsals.
Yeah.
And then for musicians, they have a global musician set. So he just coordinated in fact, this reboot camp, I think it was just there were just two set lists that I played,
Mm.
you know hardly happens. But because we have more people, it's just easier. And all I did was just check on the stems,
Yep.
and work. I work with a few stems as well. So I checked on the stems, sent to them, and they just do the rest. So everyone is literally working from um September down to December. And because
Okay.
we also have to do Sunday rehearsals, rehearsals for Sunday
Weekly.
service.
Yeah. Weekly rehearsals. Yeah.
Exactly. We used Sundays for the singers.
Okay.
So
After
after
church.
church, we just go to our studio and then we rehearse every Sunday. Then musicians, most of them are free during the week, so they
Mm.
just do weekday rehearsal. And
Okay.
also with as we rehearse, we put the vocals in the tracks because
Yep.
sometimes when we rehearse, I just put mics or and then I
Just
record
record
the
everything. The
singer.
whole session.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just put it in the send to the production team. They then take that. So we had some production meetings and then we just discussed all that. But from the period of work is majorly from September
Mm.
down to December. That's
Yeah.
that's what our process looks like.
So, like those singers, I know it's a very huge team for the reboot conference, reboot camp, right? So, like are they all from Lagos, or they're like other singers from Ilorin, others Ibadan that joins the choir for the camp itself? And how do they do the
Yeah.
rehearsals? Do they just listen to the stems and kind of just join in when they come
Mm.
that week?
So the strategy we employed is because definitely there are people that are coming from other branches,
Yeah.
and so Lagos is hosting.
Okay.
So majority of the choir members, we have 7 branches in Lagos, so
Mm-hmm.
we're about 100 singers in Lagos. So 100 singers do the most of the rehearsals,
Okay.
and then because not everyone from every other branch can travel down,
Mm.
we have a group chat where they register and then they join that group chat.
Okay.
So on that, we have part leaders for global events. So
Okay.
those part leaders record specifically for people that are
Their
not
group.
in Lagos, and
Okay.
then they send recordings to them. So
Yeah.
sometimes the music directors of those branches actually does a reboot camp rehearsal
Oh,
for
okay.
singers that
Okay.
come, and so
Okay.
they rehearse. And if they can't do that, the singers just listen to it and they send back
What
recordings.
they've done.
Yes, so
Yeah.
just to be sure that, and sending recordings was kind of like a prerequisite to sing with us at Rebecca. So
Ah,
if you don't
okay.
send back, we're not sure if you know the
If you
stuff.
know it,
So
I
we have,
need to hear that recording.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
we
Okay.
our partners, our global partners send them feedback.
Okay.
So they were working with them to send recordings, they listen, send feedback and all. So they were doing that throughout the period. And
Mm.
so we now have one final rehearsal. That's the week
Of the
of reboot
conference.
camp.
Okay.
That's the Monday. So everyone comes together and then we rehearse.
Then you have to be there. You can arrive on Thursday. You have to be at that rehearsal on Monday.
Yes, you have to be at the rehearsal on Monday.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for sharing this. There's a lot of information that you've shared in that. Like, if you have not in the rehearsal, you have to send your recording back. Some people will just say, "Oh, I listened to the recording," but yeah, we want to see the recording. We want to hear it. By the way, is it video recording or just audio?
Audio
Audio is
recordings.
fine. Okay,
Audio.
yeah. And just again, it's just to be sure if it is you that is singing or somebody else sang for
Oh,
you.
then again. It's true, it's true, it's true. Maybe we'll employ that.
We
We
just
should
need to
do
be we
that.
just need to be sure because everybody want to be on the stage, global event. I know we are Christians, but sometimes you'll be shocked what Christians do.
Ah, yeah. Hey, God.
Oh, God
Well,
help us, man.
good.
God help us. But Steph, thank you so much. I know it's already late in Nigeria. I can't take any more of your time, but thank you so much. I know a lot of people have questions in here we're not able to get. I will let Steph go and I will try to answer some of your questions by myself in the best way I possibly can because it's very late back home where he is. I am still just in three this is just 3 p.m over here. So I can still answer some of the questions. If you want, you can drop those questions in here again. Thank you so much, Steph. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir,
Thank
for
you
the
so much.
privilege. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, guys. Bye.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, everybody. I hope that was an interesting session. Shout out to Steph for dropping so much wisdom, so much knowledge. But I had to let him go because it's very late. We've gone past what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to do an hour. It's already 1 hour 48 minutes. So if you still have questions, I'm gonna scroll up and bring some questions up in the screen and try to answer a couple of them. Uh, you know, I'm trying to see what I can answer before I close it out here as well. And just so you know, this is gonna be coming every other month. We're going to be having guests discussing different things. This one we're talking about music directing, managing a big team, managing a lot of people and a lot of big events like this. We're going to be having people talking to us about music publishing royalties and things like that. We're gonna be having people. This one is something I want to talk about. A lot of people that have been asking me about immigration to Canada. I want to find the right person that can, immigration to other countries as a musician as well. I would like to find the right person who has the right information for musicians, because there are different kind of immigrations or immigration opportunities, but I am not familiar with that. That's not my scope. I don't know a lot about that. So these are some of the things I want to bring with this platform, the informed musicians. We want to be informed, we want to have knowledge, we want to have understanding to be able to like deal with some of these things. So one question here on my screen here, it says, are musicians instrumentally different from singers in the choir? Is there any difference of preferential? No, there should never be any form of preferential treatment. Everybody is in the choir. You are not treated differently because you're a musician or one person is a singer. Absolutely not. Not gonna happen. And also, everybody, we are all musicians. Either you're playing instrument or you're singing. The word musician comes from music. So we are all music people. That's pretty much what the word musician means. Music people. We are all musicians. And that's why it's important for all of us to understand the music itself, because we are all music people, understand the theory behind it. Right? I hope that answered the question. Uh, Another one here, how did I learn music production and piano? I learned piano from a very long time ago. I've been playing for over 22, 23 years right now. Learned piano, majority of my learning process was by ear. Music production, I learned that by just learning Logic, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos learning how to use Logic and applying the use of the software with what I already know how to play. I've been playing keyboard for at least like 16, 17 years before I started learning music production. Something like that, around 15, 16 years before music production came in. So I was already versatile with the music itself before going into the music production, and that was what helped me. Let's see. Let me see if there are other questions that have been dropped in here. All right, we have some questions down below here. Let's see. What VSTs do I use? I use Omnisphere for a lot of auxiliary keys sounds. I use Keyscape. I use Pianoverse for pianos. I use Native Instrument as well for a lot of stuff. And I just use hardware keyboard as well. But yeah, these are the things I use. Question here is, what's the best way to learn and teach harmony? Best way to learn and teach harmony from my understanding and experience, which we also discussed in this session. If you go back and watch it, is you need to still understand music to understand why something was done in the harmony itself. You want to understand, why did they do it this way? What is the chord progression like? Why are they doing this? So you still need some level of knowledge for music to be able to learn and teach the harmony, because you can't teach what you don't understand. All right. So I would advise you to spend more time learning music theory as well, and a lot of ear training, because you need the ears to hear the music and pick out the part and then teach it. You need the music knowledge to be able to teach it. You need the ear training to be able to hear it and pick out those parts. So, like I described in this session, I sometimes just zone out when I'm listening to something. I just listen to one area. I'm trying to figure out a part, a note. I just zone out, sometimes close my eyes, as if opening my eyes necessarily like distract me. I close my eyes just to zone in on one particular thing I'm trying to listen for. All right. I hope that helps, Sister Rail. By the way, I'm going to be doing some sessions later this year where we will take a song and we will actually score it and we will write out the notes. Okay. I'm trying to buy an iPad that I'll be sharing the screen of the iPad and be writing down those notes. So that's one thing I want to do this year. So stay tuned for that. It's going to come. Right. Another question here is, Open Ever Calgary, how are you controlling lyrics on Pro Presenter with Ableton Live? There is tutorial on that on YouTube. Just actually check on YouTube controlling Pro Presenter with Ableton Live. There are a lot of people who did tutorial on how to do that. That was where we learned it from. We just created lyric videos that matches the audio. So I'll take this is what I do just to give you a perspective. I'll take this is the arrangement we want to do. This is the tempo we are going to sing it at, and I will give them that demo. They will create a lyric video with that demo, and that lyric video is broken down into multiple segments in Pro Presenter as verse 1, chorus, verse 2, bridge, all those things. And then we're using Ableton to control that. So remember, if you create the video with the audio demo that I gave to you, when we are performing it live, everything will match and will flow the right way. As you are pronouncing the word, it's displaying. Your word will not be faster than the video because remember, it is the same tempo which I gave to them 10 weeks ago. All right. Hope that answered the question. How do I teach my choir how to score their parts in the contemporary piece? I think I just mentioned that, and we also mentioned some of that in here. How do you mention? So you made mention of stereo. The issue is a lot of FOH mixes on this side of the world are in mono. That should not be. So even if I send in stereo, it will end up being pushed as mono. I agree. How do I work around that? Your engineer needs to live stream in stereo. It's as simple as that. They cannot be in mono. They cannot be live streaming in mono. They have to live stream in stereo. The fault is not coming from you. The engineer knows better. They need to send out a stereo output from the board to wherever it's supposed to go. Okay, there's nothing you can do about that. Engineer needs to fix that. All right. Um, Someone said he talked about Johnny learning music production. How did you take any course and can you kindly recommend? I think I mentioned that I just took Logic as my software that I want to use, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube learning how to use Logic. When I ended up understanding how to use Logic, I also learned how to mix a song. This is where I learned how to use all this effect, EQ, compressors, reverbs, delays, and all those things. You need to learn how to do that so that you can take your production game to the next level. And also, learning production is not necessarily like about taking a course. If you're a good musician, you have good ears, listen to a lot of songs. Take a song and remake the song. Okay. And then you're learning small, you start understanding why they did what they did in the song or what kind of sound did they use. If you're trying to remake a song, you will have to use the same sounds, and that is where it will challenge you to go and find that sound. What kind of sound is this sound? What kind of sound is that sound? By doing that, you are beginning to enhance your knowledge and your depth in the area of music production. Take a song you like, remake it, reproduce it, remix it, rearrange it. That's how you start by doing great things, and then start taking projects, start taking other people's productions, start putting it out and be growing day by day. All right. Happy to help. All right. Yeah, happy to help with some info around immigration specific to musicians. Ayo Bamidele, Ayo Mide Odebowale. Thank you so much. Please, bro, DM me on Instagram. Let's talk more if you have some great resources on this. This is something on my mind that I want to share. A lot of talent back home and back in everywhere, all over Africa, all over the world. They want to relocate to different countries where they believe they are going to make better living for themselves, but they don't have the information that they need, and I need someone who can help us out with information. So please send me a DM and let's discuss and let's make this happen. Right? It would be cool if you could bring in. All right. Someone says it would be cool if you could bring in East Play into one of this episode. East Play, this is for you, bro. I'm coming for you. They requested for you. All right. All right. So music. Thank you so much. I'll reach out to East Play. East Play. I gotta make this happen. I've told you long time ago that this is coming. It is now here. So please Give us a date on the calendar and let's make this happen, bro. All right. Do you still like the Roland Phantom? Absolutely. For auxiliary key sounds, I still do love Roland Phantom. And I have my sound patches out. Go check it out. I'll put a link in the description of this video for all of my products. Please go support. Thank you so much. What should you do when you find yourself in an environment that doesn't promote excellence and where people are unwilling to learn? All right. So, this one is a very interesting thing to answer, and I don't want to be, I don't want someone to take this and turn it around into something that I do not mean. Number one, the number one reason we go to church is to serve God. Okay. Now, you can serve God in different other places. God is God. God, there's no God of this church, God of that church. I don't believe in that. God is God. Okay. Now, we go to church to serve Him. We don't necessarily go to church so that, you know, we're not going to church for what the church can give to us. If there is an environment where you are gaining from and learning from, is a plus. And that is good as well. But I have to remember that our number one reason that we go to church is to serve God. So if God has called you to serve in a particular place, you just do the best you can at that place at the time that God has you, at the time that, you are there and God is asking you to be there, right? Unless God is asking you to move on to another place and is giving you another assignment in a totally different place. I'm not the kind of person that just opens his mouth and say, if you're not growing musically in one church, leave. No, I don't subscribe to that. We go to church to serve him, to worship him, and excellent music is good for sure, but the instruction from God for your life is more important. So follow what God is asking you to do at every point in your life. If you feel the burden that God is asking you to progress into another place, good for you. All right. I hope I've been able to answer that question the best way I can. It is tough conversations that only you can genuinely answer at the end of the day, right? Let's see. What do we have here? What is some of the major benefit that you realize in the Roland Phantom? I mean, they have really great sound engines for auxiliary kits. For the grand piano, not really, but for aux sounds, I think it's one of the best out there that you can get, even better than Montage, in my opinion. How does a musician make multiple sources of income apart from being independent on church? Any advice, please? All right, so this is one of the things that we also bring someone who will speak into this as well. How to monetize your gift as a musician. There are different things you could do. But one of the things that will help you the most is to learn music production. Okay. One of the ways you will monetize yourself the best. Because if you're if you're a musician and your focus is to just play gospel music and just serve God and not use your gift and play in other places, secular world, that's fine. That's your belief. However, you probably won't make money if the only place you serve with your gift is your church. So, one of the things you want to do is learn music production, learn how to record yourself so that people can ask you to play on their song. Like play keyboard for me on this song, and they send it to you. You record from the comfort of your home, you send it back. You can be taking multiple jobs every day, every week. And there's a person I have in mind to bring in to speak on this topic. So watch out for another episode of this one as well. Okay. How do you learn to apply harmonic scale like Tor, Z, and Fi to music? It kind of all it depends on your chord progression. It's pretty much about the chord progression that you're dealing with. So if you're doing a song that has flat seven in there, or you're doing a song and you want to go from like one to the four, you could pretty much do. So you could do that passing chord on the three, which has the tor in there. I just applied Tor right there, right? So it's a passing chord. I could do, the Z. There's a You can have different things for Z. For example, Z or C, like some people call it, is the flat six. All right. There are different songs that we have like augmented chords. So your one augmented chord we have do mi la z do mi z. Right. That's a Z. It depends on the kind of songs you're also playing. So there was a song you do. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You could pretty much add that augmented chord, augmented one there. All right. So listen to a lot of music and hear all these chords, okay? And you'll be able to kind of like grow from there. Passing chords, augmented chords, applying, some resolving in some places as well. You could apply that. Okay. Juanita, someone said, have I ever used VSTs live in church? I've done before. I don't do it anymore because I have access to better gear. That's just the reason why. Junita says, hi Moses, roughly how long does it take you to prep for a Sunday set? I might have to make a whole video about this because talking about it right now will probably take another minute. Once we get a song, we usually try to get the song out to everybody 2 weeks before the song. So, the songs we're singing 2 Sundays from now should be going out by today or tomorrow latest to everybody so that everybody has it, they start listening to it, they start learning in it. And I already have it in my mind. Although I'm preparing for the coming week, but that's kind of like where it start from. It start from having those songs earlier so that everybody can have access to it. And I just listen to the songs. I know all the parts to the song. Most of the time, the songs are not always new songs. We try to limit new songs to one per service to ensure the rehearsal time is not too long and also the audience can also sing the song along. You got to remember that if the audience can't follow along with the song and you're always singing brand new song, out of 4 songs, 3 of them are new. I mean, you lose the audience. So uh, once I know the songs we're singing, I listen to them just one more time. I know where the parts are to the song. I'm prepared for rehearsal, even if the key change, because I know the song, I know the part, I can move the part around to other keys. And then we just have rehearsals with the singers. We have rehearsals with the full band and the music and the singers as well. One more time for the second rehearsals, and then we go for the Sunday service. So one rehearsal with the singers, one rehearsal with the singers and musicians. Musicians, once you send them the song, they listen to the song, they score the song, they are ready to go. Unless I'm adding things that we want to like do. Okay. Uh, what? Okay. There's another thing here. When you score a song, you would want to be creative. Okay, this is not a question. How do you stay disciplined so as not to overdo? You gotta think as a producer. So this is where your production skills comes in as a music director. The discipline to know that this is not required here, this is not required there. I don't need to do that here. I don't need to do that there. So listen to what the song feels like with what you're doing. Don't just overdo. Sometimes I do a lot and then I pull back. I remove some things, some syncopations. I take them out because like, nah, this is getting too much. You will know when you are doing too much. You will know. How you will know is also that there is pretty no breathing space. Everything is just back, 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 back. Right? If you have an arrangement where we cannot even calm down for 30 seconds to just hear the music, then you're beginning to do too much. Like there should be places in the song where we can just kind of calm down and just enjoy the music before the next syncopation comes in. All right, that's one way you can know that you're doing too much when there's no room to just enjoy the song for what it is. I hope I answered that question. That's the best thing that comes to my mind right now. I'm using Studio Logic SL88 right now. I want to change it because I'm tired of the keyboard. but I don't know the one I want to get yet. I want the keyboard of a Nord Stage 4 or Nord Stage 3, but I want it in a MIDI controller because I don't want to go and buy Nord Stage 4 and Nord Stage 3 because I don't have that budget right now. When you do a boot camp for music directors, we need it. We'll try and be doing some of these sessions where we are bringing music directors from all walks of different ministries like this, like we just did today. But I hear what you're saying. There's is gonna be a whole different one where we break down an arrangement and we go through it. Those are the things I can think of right now. I don't want to overcommit, Sister Damilola. Appreciate it. Uh, okay. So many questions here. How do I teach my choir how to score their part in the contemporary piece? They need to know how to score songs for themselves. I know it's a challenging thing. A lot of people don't know how to do it. But you have to know how to do it as the MD and give it to them whenever you can, as best as you can. And hopefully, they can always grow to a place where they can do it by themselves. Okay. Let's see if we can take another question. How do you manage your videos with your in-ear monitors? My in-ear monitor has an SD card reader at the back of it. I just record into it, take it out, and merge it in Final Cut Pro. That's my video editing software, right? Um, when will you do a class on Logic? That's gonna be a Logic masterclass, so we'll see. I don't know yet. That's the truth, but we'll work something out. Maybe we'll do some kind of like 4 hours masterclass on Logic one Saturday. We just sit down with it from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. I don't know, but that's an idea I might have to work on. Thank you, Abraham. What are some shortfalls or dislike you had with the Roland Phantom? The interface can be funky, kind of like hard to figure out sometimes. So, yeah. Can you make up a session on scoring songs soon? Yeah, I talked about that. We're gonna have that, but I need to get an iPad so that when I'm writing something, it's showing on the screen. So I gotta buy the iPad. All right. And if you have an iPad you're not using, send it. Good one, oh, for sure. I have been remaking songs and learning, but I don't know what to keep and what to take out. And I'm able to send my work. All right. Send me a DM on Instagram, Boss Transport Sims. All right. And let's kind of discuss. Again, a way for you to know if you're doing too much is comparing to the original record. And sometimes don't overthink. Trust your instincts, trust your ideas. The more success you gain, the more people like your work, the more confidence you will also gain in yourself. So I can understand. All right. So I will need to maybe share my screen so that I can change my battery right now so that I can show you guys. Uh, so let's see. I'm in Logic right now. I just want to like change my camera so that you guys can see what's going on. But I still have those questions coming. We have some of the questions again. Let's see. Okay, I just want to share only my my screen. So the other question we have here is, what camera am I using? I'm using Sony A7C and I'm also using Sony A6700. All right. Yeah, this is something we'll deal with when we do that that session where I'm scoring song live, and we'll be walking through some of those things. We have to think of how we want to identify each voice part when singing. Okay. New Jersey, thank you so much. New Jersey, appreciate it. Uh, all right. Let me answer someone else's question. Love Adenika. I thank you. Let's see. How long are your choir rehearsals? Typically 2, maybe maximum 3 hours. Typically before people are exhausted, because usually it could be in the evening when people are coming from work. So thank you so much, Ziki. Um, thank you so much, Ayoaina. I've been finding it difficult setting settling as an house keyboardist in my new church, unlike my old one where I was the main pianist. Any advice? I find it hard to complement the main pianist, a uh main man, TJ. Okay, so you need to understand how to use sounds. Okay, that's gonna be very important for you. Like find a way to um listen. When you listen to records, don't try not to listen to the piano. Try to listen to other things like synths and pads and strings and organ. There are so many things you could do as an aux keys player to complement the piano in any song. And sometimes it could mean you don't need to play anything at that moment, and that's also okay. All right. When you're listening to the song and you're scoring songs, don't score the piano. Just score uh the just call what's that I'm thinking about. Just call all the sounds. All right. Let's see. Another question here. My God, this question keeps coming, guys. Okay, is there any difference between a choir coordinator and a choir director? I mean, it depends on what you guys are doing at your ministry. A coordinator can just be coordinating affairs and administrative side of things, and the director, a music director, is coordinating technical side of things. So, but it depends on what you guys are doing in your ministry. All right. I hope that answered that question. Uh, and if yes, what specific role? Like, choir is a big department where you're dealing with a lot of people, a lot of administrative things. People having people having one issue or the other, and all of those kind of things. So a lot of things are going on. Uh, well, one person can deal with the technical side of things when it comes to music. One person is dealing with the administrative side of things when it comes to people. I hope that answers that question. Let's see one more question. I believe I've answered this already. Uh, we need to have AJL in here. All right, I will speak to AJL. Okay. Uh, Another question in here is, uh, let's see, as a growing keyboardist, what budget gear? Let's see, Logic is trying to use my screen and I'm not doing that. All right, let's go back to my face right now. So someone asked a question here. It says, as a growing keyboardist, what budget gear you would advise to invest into? Uh, for sure, you need a keyboard for yourself to practice on. That one is very necessary. And you need to, it depends on what you want to do. Once you have a keyboard for yourself to practice in, if you wanted to go into production, then you buy the production things you need: your laptop, audio interface, headphones, MIDI controller, or the already existing keyboard that you have if it has a MIDI port behind it. All right. Hope that answers that question. What other one here? Okay. Okay. How long are you? I think I already answered that questions. Okay. Remember the Sinach you had with Sinach? You were going to play something, but you refrained. It was disciplined. Yeah, I was going to play something. So I think the song was Confessions, and the song kind of goes, it is done, it is done, oh, it is done, amen. All right, it ended on the 6th, but what I wanted to do was, it is done, oh, it is done, amen. That was what I wanted to do, which I didn't do it. Now, that sounds nice. I liked it. The band, we've done it before in rehearsal. It sounded good, but we intentionally did not do it on the day because we don't want to surprise Minister Sinach with that. Someone asked a question of how to use fee. That's a perfect example of how to change things up in an arrangement, right? Like the song was like, it is done, oh, it is done, amen. All right, kind of end the song that way. That was one way. The idea kind of just came. It's a simple idea, but it works well. So yeah. Someone said Studio Logic keyboard was great. Well, I never felt it. I mean, it's great. It's just not the best in the world. So I'm looking for the better one. Seriously considering visiting from the UK. When is the best month to come see you and have a chat about your setup? Hmm. You just gotta let me know when though. If it is just one time conversation, it can kind of happen anytime. It can happen anytime. It doesn't have to be. The truth is, I'm always very busy, but we can make up time. If you choose to fly in all the way from UK, I mean, I will honor that. So, how do you ensure that the audio quality of your production is not compromised in the YouTube streaming? Okay, I try not to I try not to be too loud. Okay, that's the word. Like, I don't put out way too loud. I have no idea what it sounds like right now, in fact. But I'm not super loud here so that YouTube doesn't kind of mess with it unnecessarily. Let's even see what it looks like right now. Okay, I think it sounds good. I think it sounds good. All right. So just maintain a decent level. You don't want to be seeing the red. Try not to be seeing the red. When you start seeing the red, and then I also have limiter on the output in Logic. So if I go to Logic, let's see if we go to Logic here. Um, I have a limiter in Logic. Uh, you guys, let me know if you see my screen. This is my microphone right now. This is my piano right here, and I have a limiter on the output. The limiter is making sure my audio never distorts. Okay, so that I'm just releasing the sense level out. Okay, so that is what I'm doing to ensure my audio is not distorting when it's getting out of YouTube. All right. I hope that answers the questions. Let's go back to right here. Uh what's the next question here? Day in Love. I've answered this question 2 times a week, maximum 3 hours each. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Do you use Ableton Live Key Rig? No, I don't even know what that is, honestly speaking. I don't know what Key Rig is. Never heard about it before. I know Ableton Push. I don't know Ableton Key Rig. What mixer do you use at church? Midas Midas Pro X. All right. What camera am I using? I have two different cameras. One right now in my hand. This is Sony A7 Mark C. This is Sony A7C right now. And I have a lens here. It says 16mm 1.4. So I'm using one camera to stream right now, which is Sony A6700. I was using this before this one battery is dead. So we've been on live here for 2 hours. So the battery on this one is dead. I switched to the other one. That was what I was doing when I went to only my screen the other time. And then on this screen right now, what you're seeing is Sony A6700 with a Sony G Master 24 mm 1.4. Yeah, it's a crazy lens. I rented the lens just for this live. I have to return it tomorrow. Okay, all right, all right. So, have I seen Joachim play on it? Yes, I have seen him play on it. But I have a feeling it might be using that Phantom 8 as a MIDI controller sometimes as well. So how do you play keys more sophisticated? I can identify most of the chord. How to play the keys. Okay, so someone is asking how to play the keys more sophisticated. I can identify most of the chords of a song, but it seems like I'm stuck in a cycle of the same chords. Totally understand what you're saying. It takes intentionality to break out of simple chords. Intentionality, what I mean by that is you just want to intentionally play sophisticated. Sometimes it's not necessary, and sometimes it is needed. Focus on when it is needed and not when it is not. And just learn a lot of songs as much as you can and just keep scoring songs and focus on your left hand a lot. Let your left hand do the chords and left your right hand just kind of like fill in. So, for example, if I want to play six, I'm on the key of C, for example, right? I'm gonna bring in the Cordy app to the screen so that you guys can kind of see. I want to make sure I'm answering this question correctly the best possible way I can. So if I show you this, so on my screen now you see this. So great. So on in the key of C, instead of me playing this, which is just A minor chord, I will substitute that with as simple as like this on my left hand. And then I will just do on my right hand, I can just do. I know it sounds stupid, but let's see. Let's say we're in the key of I just wanna say okay, great. That's a good one. I just wanna say. Let's do a simple right there. That same chord I was showing you the other time, but this time around, this was the chord I showed you the other time. I'm keeping this, and then I'm doing this. I just wanna say, or you could do, right? So there are different ways. It kind of just depends on what you're feeling at that moment. So substituting what you would typically play on your right hand and put it on your left hand so that your left hand is doing those chord substitution and your right hand is doing extensions. All right. So substitution on the left instead of the right, because typically what we normally do is do the chord, the root note on the left, right, and chord substitution on the right. So instead of me playing this chord, we typically do, or we do, right, or we do. So instead of me doing this, right, I'm gonna take this chord in my right hand and do it like this. Take this, put it up here, right? And then take this one, this E, put it up here, and it becomes this. So which we normally do, and then I take this chord, this G, B, C, E, but put it on my left hand here. So that my right hand now cannot do other stupid things. So all right, so the different way you can go about that. All right, so let me go back to uh this right here. So I hope that answered that questions a little bit. But yeah, let's kind of finish this up. Law of Adeyinka, there are processes you can follow to conduct audition efficiently, but it depends on what level your team is. Uh, like where are you at? But you want to test people's ability on, do they have good knowledge of harmony? Do they have good knowledge of music and things like that? Uh, you know, okay. I thought I answered some of these questions, man. Do you suggest auditioning for new choristers? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Have to audition. Gotta know who is coming in. Unless your ministry is still at a level where you just need the people who can sing and not necessarily going for like uh the best of the best, if I should call it that way. As an aux keys player, how do you know which aux to select? Understand genre of the song, understand the music. The original song will give you the information of what to do, especially if you're doing original music. Original song will tell you. I gave an example yesterday. If you're doing a song like, you know, if you're doing a Caribbean song and the song is, how do I describe it? This 1, 2. So if the song is a Caribbean song, for example, there are Caribbean sounds like steel drums. So if the beat is giving you that Caribbean beat, you can go to the Caribbean songs and use those Caribbean sounds, you know. Let's see something here. Let's say steel drums. So if I go to Caribbean steel drums, so if my if we're doing the song like so long bye bye, right? That's an example of a Caribbean beat song. So this is the job of the aux keys player at this point, where the piano player is still playing his own, groove, right? Most of you are kind of like playing the same thing, the same rhythm, but different sounds. So understand the genre of the song. When you understand the genre of the song, you'll be able to select the right sound. Okay. All right, guys. How can I record audio from P4 in-ear monitor amplifier? I don't use that. I'm not sure. If you get iRig, you can plug iRig into that and be able to record. Yeah, I believe so. Is it better to go to music school to study music? Uh, hmm, Controversial. Now, you don't need a music degree to be a good musician. You need to know that. As long as you know that, you don't need to have a music degree. to be a good musician. That's all I can say about that. So understand that, and you'll be fine. Trust me. What's your practice routine like? When you started learning? When I started learning, I was practicing like at least 2 hours, 3 hours a day, kind of thing. But not anymore. I don't have that time anymore. Okay. Um, someone, Steph, it's an MD. How do you go about disciplining? Just stand on the word. The goal is not necessarily to make people feel bad or disrespect anybody. As long as the culture in the house is understood, everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And when we don't do what we're supposed to do, we should be ready to face the consequence that we all agree we are going to be facing. So, if we have an agreement that anytime we don't come for choir practice, uh, we are not ministering, you know, and then we have to stand on it, even if it means that we don't have, like, you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, if the culture is, as a member, when you are not here, when you're expected to be here, you won't minister. Then everybody will know that by the end of the day, and there's no reason to to be angry. How can I find a better key for a lead singer if the original key is too high? Yeah, you bring the key down. Simple as ABC. You bring the key down and you play the song on the new key, and you teach the singer on the new key. So that's why you need to have a knowledge of understanding why something was done in the original song and not just cram it. Okay, that's why it's necessary. If the original key is too high, you bring it down and, like, okay, bring it down and move things around to accommodate. All right. Um, how can you find it in the range? If it is high, if the original key is C sharp and it's high for them, go down to B flat. I usually go down in steps of three. All right. One, two, three. B flat. Okay. Try B flat. Is this too high? Okay. Now at this point, I might go down just a tone, A flat. At this point, A flat should be fine for you. I mean, if you can sing it on C sharp, you can sing it on A flat. Well, maybe bring it down one more time to now F at this point. So now at this point, F should either be too high for you or perfect for you if you sing it on the lower register. It kind of just depends on the song. Um, yeah, if you're just learning keys and you know the chords and scales, and do you how do you start playing all the black keys? What? If you are just learning keys and you know the chords and scales, how do you start playing the black keys? Bro, you've not finished learning keys if you have not started playing black keys. All right? That's just what it means. You've not finished learning keys if you've not learned all the 12 keys. Okay. So much information, more to come, more to come. Which finger exercises do I practice on the keys? I practice my major scales, then go to the next key, go to the next key, go to the next key. Kind of just take it key by key, and move on around. And then I do other things like, uh, you could do all of that. You could do this one. And then you finish that, you go to the next key, right? And then you move it around until your fingers start feeling warm. There are different things you can do. And then when you finish that, once you start feeling that your fingers are warmed up, and then you start stretching and doing other things. Anon fingering exercise, go check it out. It's good. How do I become better drummer even when my environment does not support? Cause of noise. I don't understand what that means by cause of noise. So you might need to. Oh, I see what you mean. Better drummer when my environment doesn't support. Maybe you have acoustic drum. Yeah, you might need to invest in buying electric drums where you just put on headphones and you just play in your room by yourself. But I can understand it's a challenge. Back in the day, where I grew up, musicians, drummers specifically, they just go to church every day after church. After school, they go to church and just go and drum in church when there's no service. Okay. If you have the opportunity to do that, is it okay to use chord charts to practice gospel music? I mean, there are some things that you will never find on chord charts. CCM music for sure, but there are some gospel music where you will never find the chord chart anywhere. So you have to use your ears to figure out what the chord is and then you play it. Then you transfer it on all 12 keys. So gospel music, black gospel music, not everything you will see charts for. Chart is good, but the gospel music, your ears are your best friend. All right. I already mentioned I'm going to do a whole different sessions on this, so watch out for that. To be like you musically, how did you do it? Mm, Jesus did it, but we put in some work, we learned the theory, we learned the music, and kind of just took it from there, man. How can you get perfect pitch? I don't know. I don't have perfect pitch myself. So, but someone said if you want to have perfect pitch, you could do like you can find out what your lowest pitch is. Uh, find out what your lowest pitch is, and every time you know the note of that lowest pitch, if you know that your lowest pitch is C, you can always use that C to reference any other note that you hear, and then you find that key, something like that. It's still like a relative pitch thing. It's not perfect pitch. So I think it's a gift, it's a talent, and some people add it, like they born with it. Some people practice it, but I'm not so sure how to do it. How do you run scales? I did some tutorial recently about pentatonic scales. You could check that out. It could help you. Do you play any other instrument, bass and drums? How do I easily learn the progression of a song as a beginner pianist? I mean, ear training is going to be very, very, very important. If you're hearing the progression, usually try to hear what the bass is playing. Bass is usually playing the root. And once you can hear what the bass is playing, bass is telling you what the progression is. And then you just follow that. Is it a must learn to play in all keys? It's gonna help you a lot. At this point, I don't know if I should say must learn, but if you want to be taken seriously, it's a must learn. It's a must to learn. How do I become better at bass groove? I mean, I'm not a pro bass player. I know what the good bass sounds like, but I'm not a pro bass player. Advanced chords are they used basically for substitution in the diatonic scale, or do they have other function? I mean, usually it's just substitution. You kind of just reharmonizing something and substituting something. If the root note of a progression in a particular chord is supposed to be one, the normal major triad is right. That's the normal major triad. Every other thing that comes after that is just you know substituting from the typical you know major chord, major seventh, right? Minor seventh, depending on what kind of song are you doing. Major minor seven, augmented seven, right? Major nine, right? Minor nine. So, and then you start substitute from there, depending on the melody of your song. At the end of the day, you shouldn't necessarily like throw the melody away. Can you demonstrate some of the best instances of using diminished chord? Usually when you're doing passing chords, you use passing notes, passing chords use diminished a lot. Trying to just think of a song in my head right now. If I go to this, if I go here, let me switch this camera to what new scene. Okay. So if the song is just that's E diminished. So I'm going to 4. I'm just going from 1 to 4, which is F. So I can go by using 3 diminish, E diminish. Right? And then you can also do, so I just use 2 diminished chord in that one same progression. F sharp diminish to like just go to that 5. So it can be as simple as that. It depends on how much you want to complicate things, but yeah, we're not here for all of that today. Skill and an anointing. You perfect your skill by practicing. You are anointed by how much time you spend in God's presence and prayers and fasting. You're anointed with that. You're skilled by practicing. Your anointing doesn't lead to skill. The skill doesn't lead to anointing. You get both different ways, but they work hand in hand. The funny thing is that your anointing may not be impactful if your skill is not good, especially when it comes to singing ministry. If you're going to be in the singing music ministry and you are not skilled, nobody wants to hear you, even though you are anointed. So just go and join prayer ministry if you're highly anointed and you don't have skill, so that people will only come to you for the prayers and you pray for them, they'll be healed, they'll be delivered, and you know God will use you to transform their lives with the praying ministry. But if you're going to sing and they come to God's presence, open, hoping to like hear the song and things like that, and you don't have the skill, you're going off key and all of those kind of things, they won't even listen to the song. Okay. All right. Guys, we gotta shut it down now. Thank you so much. How do you manage to let your logic sound in your streaming software? I'm using Ecamm right now. Ecamm is a software I'm using to live stream. All right. As an MD, where do you spend most of your time? Prayer or practicing? This is what we're talking about. Uh, we pray as a team, we pray individually. Uh, my role as a music director is not prayer leader. Do you understand that? And I know people don't like to hear that. My role is not a prayer leader. We have prayer team. We have team in church. We pray. Choir, we pray as well. And everybody is expected to pray individually and have a relationship with God. But I don't spend all of my time praying and I don't spend all of my time practicing. I pray at my personal time, devotion time, and I go get my work done. It has nothing to do with where I spend most of my time. When I want to spend time with God by myself, I stay there for as long as I need to. And when I want to practice, I am practicing. I'm not counting like I spent 3 hours here, I spent 3 hours there. No. And also I also work full time 9 to 5. So I don't have time being uh thinking about like, oh, this one, oh, this one, oh, this one. focus on my role as the music director, and we'll pray as a team. Everybody's expected to pray individually. You don't want to be chasing around uh, too much of you can't be chasing people around like, so how many hours have you prayed today or anything like that. So can I help my choir to get good by just you also has to be good, and hopefully you are given the opportunity to lead and share your gift and help them in any way you can. I need to put that out there. Like sometimes you have to be given the opportunity. If you're not given the opportunity, there's almost nothing you can do. If you're given the opportunity to lead and hold a leadership role at any point, then impact the best possible way you can, right? Is there a rule for when to use passing code? It's more of a feel like you're sometimes you don't have the room to hide it there, even though you're necessarily going from like sometimes you don't have the room to go from 1 to 4. Some song just goes from 1 to the 4. It depends on if there's space, you had it. If there's no space, you don't necessarily have to. If there is, if the melody agrees with it, you also can add it. If the melody doesn't agree with it, have to have a structure for learning your keys. I mentioned this when I made a video about how to stop transposing. The structure is in there, right? I talked about this at one time in this video. This same video, I talked about it. Please, if you can look for this, I gave an answer similar, literally similar to this. Like to know how to run a pentatonic, bro? I just made a video about that last week. In Dubueze, made a video about that last week. Go check out my YouTube channel. Everything is there on all 12 keys. Do I teach kids piano? No, no. As an MBA, I understand how everyone has ideas. How do I go about balancing, stamping your ideas and incorporating the ideas of the people you are leading? If the idea is good, use it. If the idea is not good, you can't use it. And just like, I hear you, but I don't think that idea is going to work here. All right. And then you keep it moving. It's as simple as that. If the idea is good, you use it. Even sometimes the idea might be good and you don't have time to execute the idea. So that's another thing. So sometimes you'll be like, that's a great idea. But right now, with the time we have and when we have to do the song, we can do that right now. Next time when we are singing this song again, please, if you can remember, bring it up. Let's try it again. And sometimes some ideas are just not good, and you're like, "Yeah, I hear you, but I don't think so." You don't necessarily say that idea is not good. You just say, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's the best way we should go for this song, at least in this situation." Simple as that. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I am from Nigeria, but I currently live in Canada. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in. The next episode of the Informed Musicians will come up at some point in February. We're gonna have another person, and look out for who that person is gonna be. I'm not gonna tell you yet, but look out for that. All right. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.